Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. People in the world of gods, they actually say that the system Godhead is the weakest. Chapter 1. What is this place? Am I not in a museum? Mo Yun still clearly remembers that he visited a huge meteorite in the museum. At that moment, the meteorite emitted a strong light, and then he lost consciousness. Everything in front of him surprised Mo Yun. Here is a tall temple, topped like a deep galaxy of stars, and beside him are monsters. A huge 3-meter-tall tauren, a hot batgirl with bat wings, a tall and mighty centaur, and even a mass of mud that couldn't tell what species it was. Hundreds of creatures gathered in the temple, and they had the same questions on their faces as Mo Yun. What exactly is this place? Untouchables, welcome to the realm of the gods. Right in front of everyone stood a tall and handsome blonde man. With a wave of his hand, countless rays of golden light flew into everyone's body. When the golden light touched his body, Mo Yun felt an unprecedented pleasure in his body, as if he had been enlightened, and a lot of knowledge appeared in his mind. It turns out that this place is the realm of the gods. In this world of gods, there are a total of 80 billion gods, and the prerequisite for becoming a god is to obtain a godhead. And the temple is the easiest place to obtain the godhead. The blonde man in front of him is the owner of this temple, and also the lord of the surrounding area, demigod Ader. At this moment, the demigod Art began to speak. Listen well, untouchables, you will now have the honor to become the gods blessed by the supreme god, but the premise is that you can obtain the godhead. If you can't get the waist, you will lose your qualifications as gods and are only worthy of being slaves. Off the court, a handsome blonde young man said, "What are you talking about? I am the prince of the noble Chengxin family, and you actually want me to be a slave? Shut up, pariah." A man of prey behind half-length Yates stretched out a finger, and a red light hit the blonde youth. The blonde youth exploded and died immediately, causing fear in all living beings. The blonde young man was not too far away from Mo Yun, a stream of blood spattered on Mo Yun's face. Mo Yun immediately recognized the reality, suppressed the panic in his heart to calm himself down, and told himself repeatedly in his heart. In any case, let's talk about it after surviving. The other creatures obviously had the same idea as Mo Yun, and the sound of falling needles could be heard immediately in the temple. The demigod Ader continued. You already know how to awaken the godhead, but there is one more thing I want to remind you. That is, in this temple, you can find a non-level system godhead. This is the weakest, trash, most useless and cumbersome godhead. If you find it, you must choose another godhead, understand? A tall and burly werewolf asked. Noble demigod, what if only the system godhead is discovered? Untouchable, are you worthy of asking the grown-ups? No problem. The demigod Yate waved his hand to signal his subordinates to step back, and looked at the werewolf with great satisfaction. If you only discover the system godhead, then don't choose it. There is not only one chance to awaken the godhead, but if you choose the system godhead, you will never have another chance. System divinity. Mo Yun's mind is full of thoughts. Mo Yun, who has read all the articles on the internet, naturally knows what the system is. He didn't find the system on his body, but there is a system godhead in the sea of stars. Before Mo Yun could think more, the ceremony had already begun. Mo Yun immediately poured his spirit into the deep galaxy at the top of the temple. This deep galaxy is also known as the Sea of Godheads, and every creature without Godheads has the opportunity to obtain Godheads in the Sea of Godheads. The spirit enters the deep galaxy. Mo Yun seems to be in the vast universe, and there are countless twinkling lights in the distance. The brighter the light, the closer or stronger the Godhead is to oneself. The time that each creature can be immersed in the Sea of Godhead is different, but Mo Yun can feel that the time he can stay in the Sea of Godhead is quite limited. Those extremely radiant godheads are often extremely far away, and if you blindly pursue them, you will end up looking at the mountain and running to death. Mo Yun resolutely gave up those shining godheads, and chose a rather bright godhead that could see the outline and flew away. Maybe it was Mo Yun's good luck, this godhead was surprisingly close to him, and he quickly came in front of it. Judging from the light, this turned out to be a 4th-grade godhead. In the acquired knowledge, it is introduced that the godhead is divided into 5 grades, the worst is the 5th grade, and the best is the 1st grade. But this does not mean that the 4th level godhead is very weak, on the contrary, it is already very rare. According to the introduction in the knowledge, the person who can obtain the Godhead for the first time is actually less than 1/3, and in this among them, 9 out of 10 people can only obtain the 5th level Godhead. To meet the 4th Godhead, Mo Yun's luck is very good. But after detecting the information of Godhead, Mo Yun's expression is not so pretty. This Godhead is called the 4th Toilet God Godhead. Sighing, Mo Yun still decided to refine the Godhead. Although he is a toilet god, he is a 4th-class Godhead after all, which is always better than being a slave. People or knives and I am fish, Mo Yun has no choice. But at this moment, a Godhead wrapped in white light appeared in Mo Yun's field of vision like a comet, and it was about to pass across Mo Yun in a flash. Mo Yun saw its message clearly. There is no grade system Godhead. Mo Yun remembered the words of the demigod Ader. If you find that the system Godhead is with other Godheads, you have to choose another Godhead no matter what. If you only found the system Godhead, you must not choose it. Yate has no reason to lie to himself. There must be some kind of excessive flaw or unknown secret in this system of godhood. Does that mean ignoring this system Godhead and choosing the 4th Toilet God Godhead? Mo Yun stared at the system Godhead that was about to pass through in front of him, and fell into the battle between heaven and man. Otherwise, it's better to be more stable, right? Even if he is a toilet god, he is still a god after all. As long as he cultivates properly, he can have an endless lifespan. After all, he is not sure whether this system Godhead can surprise him. Mo Yun finally stretched out his hand to the Godhead of the toilet god. At this time, the system Godhead came in front of Mo Yun. At this moment, a conflict made Mo Yun change his choice. Dry. When a person is dead, his egg is turned upside down, and he will not die for thousands of years. Toilet gods. Since I have come to the god realm, it is impossible for me to live in peace. Grab Mo Yun after the system Godhead, and refine it immediately. At this moment, Mo Yun had an intuition. He got it right. In the temple, some creatures gradually woke up. Some of them have run out of time, and their faces are full of frustration and annoyance. Some of them have obtained the Godhead as they wished, and their faces are full of satisfaction. The guard found out the person who had obtained the Godhead, and brought him to the demigod Ader under the envious eyes of everyone. The Godhead of the 3rd-class god of bloody battles, not bad. The demigod Yate looked at the burly werewolf in front of him with admiration. I have bestowed on you the status of the Huishan leader, and you will stay by my side to serve you in the future. Thank you, Mr. Arthur. More and more people were bestowed by Yate as the gods of Huishan. Those people stood behind the demigod Yate and whispered. After becoming gods, they finally had the right to speak freely. On the contrary, the remaining creatures only have envy and regret, not knowing how to face the future of slaves. Finally, it was Mo Yun's turn. When Mo Yun was brought in front of Yate, he could hear those behind him whispering to him. What a strange skin color, is he an orc? Or a demon? Like a fated monster, his eyes turned out to be black, the same color as the demon race. I'm afraid it's a fool born of a demon and a beast. Indeed, the surrounding creatures basically have the appearance of Westerners, even centaurs, orcs, and human beings, and Mo Yun, a yellow race, is particularly different among them. Mo Yun secretly remembered these insulting words in his heart. He was under the eaves, so he could only bear it now. 10 years is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. After the demigod Ader glanced at Mo Yun, he showed a disgusted expression. System Godhead. Didn't you hear what I said? It really is a trash breed with a trash Godhead. Mo Yun lowered his head, pretending to be respectful and humble, but he firmly remembered these words in his heart. My lord, then he. Things like waste, used as slaves. A cart pulled by a huge dragon eagle flew from the sky to the mine. Sitting in the cart were the new slaves of the mine, including Mo Yun. The territory of the demigod Ader is about the size of a province of Blue Star, but in the realm of the gods, this is a small territory as small as a sesame seed, and the demigod has only barely reached the status of a lord. Minimum qualifications. Yate's territory is called Huishan Ling, and its main products are Huishan stone and God realm wheat. In the car, a group of people were mocking Mo Yun to the extreme. You said, what kind of fool was he born? I think it's a gray lemur and a hell hyena. No, I think it's a yellow-skinned rat and a hobgoblin. Then how do you explain his black eyes and hair? It is estimated that the brown eyes have mutated. A group of guys started to laugh loudly. Maybe this could give them some comfort as they became slaves. After all, in their opinion, although they didn't get the Godhead, they were still much better than Mo Yun, who chose the system Godhead. Mo Yun kept silent, secretly remembering these insulting words in his heart. Laugh at himself, he can bear it. But mocking his race, the color of his skin, and his eyes, he can't stand it. He will definitely make these guys pay the price. However, not now. For now, Mo Yun is absolutely impossible to be the opponent of this group of monsters: the ogre with a height of nearly 4 meters, the crocodile orc with a mouth full of fangs, and various monster species of huge size. He must draw strength from the Godhead. Mo Yun immersed himself in the spiritual world, staring at the system Godhead. According to the knowledge in my mind, after obtaining the Godhead, I can get the corresponding power, but the system Godhead does not. In addition, the Godhead can also absorb the power of the surrounding elements to become stronger, and this is not the case with the system Godhead. It is no wonder that Art said that this is the most trash and useless Godhead. Others who have obtained this Godhead can neither obtain the corresponding power nor absorb elements to strengthen it. It will only waste the Godhead position in vain. But Mo Yun felt that he knew the correct way to use the system Godhead. System, you should be able to understand what I'm saying, right? Although the system Godhead didn't respond, Mo Yun knew he had guessed right. Give me a system that can strengthen the Godhead. At this time, one of the 3 transparent gemstones on the Godhead emitted a faint light. It is as expected. When he obtained the system Godhead, Mo Yun felt that he had obtained a key, but obviously, those who had obtained the system Godhead did not know how to use this key. At this moment, Mo Yun believes that the system Godhead who has solved the mystery will never let him down. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 10 times the cultivation system. The host can check his own situation through the system. Check it out now. Then, a system template appeared in front of Mo Yun. Host: Mo Yun. Practice value: 10 days. Current environment practice speed: 1.2 days unit, day. The template is very simple. Combining the knowledge about the world of gods in his mind and the introduction of the system, Mo Yun has a clear understanding of the way of God's practice. The Godhead increases the cultivation value by absorbing esoteric meanings. The stronger the esoteric meanings in the environment, the faster the Godhead grows. For example, in this carriage, the newly obtained 5th level Godhead can only increase the cultivation value of 0.1 day or even less every day. If it is the god of chariots and the god of travel, the daily increase in cultivation value may be between 0.5 and 1 day. The reason why the system Godhead can last for 1.2 days is because it does not reject anyone who comes, and can absorb all the profound meanings, which is a characteristic only possessed by the upper Godhead. Ding! The environmental characteristics are detected. The cultivation system multiplier is 11 times, and the current environment cultivation speed, 13.2 days. It is indeed a 10 times cultivation system. Mo Yun's eyes lit up. Obviously, the 10 times cultivation system turned out to be the minimum 10 times to start. With the absorption speed of a high-level Godhead, combined with a 10-fold cultivation system, his future is limitless. You must know that the 10-day practice value given by Yate along with the knowledge of the gods makes Mo Yun feel like he has been washed out. But now, Mo Yun can get more than 10 days of practice value every day. After a brief surprise, Mo Yun began to observe the Godhead again. He noticed that there were 3 transparent gemstones on the Godhead, one of which was already shining with a faint white light, which seemed to correspond to the 10-fold cultivation system. Then, could the remaining 2 also awaken the new system? Unfortunately, there is no corresponding knowledge in my mind. Mo Yun still remembers that those who were granted the qualifications of the gods by the demigod Yate received the second gift from Yate. If he guessed correctly, this time the gift included the knowledge of the cultivation of the Godhead. Looks like I need to ask someone. Mo Yun looked up. The dragon eagle cart was already quiet. It seemed that the destination was approaching. In the distance, the volcano emitting white smoke is already clearly visible. This is the mine where Huishan ore is produced. The people in the carriage also stopped taking fun from Mo Yun. It seemed that Mo Yun lost interest in insulting him because he didn't resist. Or because of the imminent life of slavery, he lost his interest in joking. Mo Yun's gaze couldn't help but rest on the silver-haired female elf sitting diagonally opposite. This is the world of the gods, and any humanoid woman who comes out as a blue star, and this silver-haired female elf is far superior, eclipsing Yifei, Leah, Bingbing, etc. in Mo Yun's memory. Thinking that such a stunning female elf is also a slave, Mo Yun couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The stunning female elf noticed Mo Yun's gaze, and glared at Mo Yun angrily. Mo Yun subconsciously wanted to turn his head, but then stopped. Since everyone is already a slave, who cares about being so polite and humble? After the Dragon Eagle cart stopped at the mine, 2 coachmen divided the people into 3 groups, and then 3 supervisors walked out of the mine. The one on the left goes there, the one on the right stays, and the trash in the middle goes with me. A supervisor took Mo Yun and a few people around him away. Unlike the tall and burly guys on the left and right, they were obviously waist in the middle. Mo Yun looked at his colleagues. They were a rat man, a squirrel man, 3 humans, a dwarf, and the silver-haired female elf. Several people were brought into a hot cave like a furnace, and when they walked in, they heard a commotion. A newcomer is here. Finally a newcomer. Quiet, you fools. A sharp voice sounded, and it was an ugly goblin less than half the height of a person, with a leather whip in his hand, and slammed it heavily on the ground. The crowd fell silent immediately, and the overseer also said to the goblin, Bibo, these new slaves will be handed over to you. Leave it to Bibo with confidence. The goblin turned around arrogantly, and said, Listen up, new slaves. I am the supervisor here, and you will call me Lord Bibo from now on. From now on, you have to work for me. Do you understand? Work. Understood. Fragmented voices sounded from the crowd. I didn't catch you. Say it again. The goblin flicked his whip. Understood. This time the voice was much louder. It's honest. Work. Since it's your first day here, move all the ashes out for me. Mo Yun took a look at the cave. This is where the ore is processed. The Huishan ore was thrown into the hot magma and then taken out. Their job is to move the excess waste outside. At this moment, the system suddenly reacted. Environmental characteristics have been detected. The current environment cultivation speed is 1.7 days, the cultivation system multiple is 13 times, and the current environment cultivation speed is 22.1 days. Mo Yun raised his eyebrows slightly. This place isn't that bad. On the first day of the newcomer, he worked continuously for 6 hours without a break. Perhaps it was due to being in the God realm, everyone didn't feel tired, at most they felt that the work was extremely boring and the cave was so hot that it made people uncomfortable. Mo Yun, who was resting in the cave, suddenly realized that he seemed to be isolated. Those who were newcomers with him sat together, as if they had completed the grouping, and the old slaves working in this cave were faintly 3 old teams. A half-orc who seemed also isolated came to Mo Yun's side and sat down, whispering. Don't be afraid of Bibo, Bibo's whip is just scary. Mo Yun sees that the orcs want to make friends with him, and Mo Yun is not disgusted, and some information about this place is what Mo Yun urgently needs. Scary. What do you mean? Every slave is the property of the Lord, and Bibo has no right to beat and scold slaves. Isn't he the supervisor? Mo Yun asked curiously. But he doesn't have the right to beat and scold the Lord's wealth. Here, only a few gods and people have such a right. As for the further right to dispose of the slaves, only the manager of Huishan Market, son of God, Ailes has it. Mo Yun thought about it secretly, and it seems that this is indeed the case. Although Bibo bossed him around, the whip in his hand never hit the slave once. This is not difficult to understand. It's like the nobles in the Middle Ages who hired poor freemen as slave overseers. In the eyes of a nobleman, a poor freeman may not be as valuable as his slave. Mo Yun was about to ask further, when a voice came from outside. Time to eat. A centaur who looked like a cook came in, and he distributed 2 pieces of bread to each slave, while Bibo, who was the overseer, received 3. This further deepened Mo Yun's judgment that the status of overseer Bibo is not much higher than that of slaves. Eat quickly, bread is our only hope. By the way, my name is Conter, what is your name? Mo Yun. Mo Yun looked at the bread in his hand, and a sweet smell entered his nose. It seems to be said in the inherited knowledge that gods can exist for a long time without eating, and only absorb the elements in the air. However, among these people, except for themselves, they are all slaves who have not obtained the Godhead, and it seems that there is indeed a need to eat. After eating a piece of bread, Mo Yun suddenly noticed something strange. After checking with the system, Mo Yun found that his cultivation value had increased by 0.1 day. I see. This is probably bread made by gods like the god of bread, which can increase the cultivation value of gods and slaves. No wonder Cantor said that this is the only hope. Cantor greedily swallowed 2 pieces of bread, and said, "There is only 1 meal a day, and bread can give us strength. As long as you work here for 10 years, you can go to the temple again to obtain the Godhead, provided you live to that time." 10 years. Mo Yun frowned, he couldn't wait that long. Mo Yun glanced at Bibo who had finished eating bread in the distance, and with a thought, asked the half-orc Cantor. "Why do some gods have the qualification to whip, but Bibo doesn't?" The orc said with some sarcasm in his tone, "Bibo is just a lowly goblin." Mo Yun suddenly realized. It turned out to be racist. It's just that it is ridiculous to say these words from the mouth of the half-orc. Goblins are cheap, so what about you half-orc? Seeing the orcs and himself being isolated, Mo Yun realized that racism might be the norm in this world. Mo Yun has a calculation in his heart. In Cantor's surprised present, Mo Yun came in front of Bibo. "Slave, what do you want to do?" Bibo slammed the whip on the ground fiercely. "Honorable Master Bibo, I just have some doubts and want to ask you." "Of course, I am not asking for nothing, I am willing to dedicate this bread to you." Goblin Bibo looked at Mo Yun in surprise. Although he was an overseer, no slave had ever respected him so much. Moreover, the temptation of magic bread is not small for Bibo. "Okay, I accept your bread, but I warn you, if your question is too ridiculous, not only will I not return the bread to you, but I will also severely punish you. Please rest assured, Master Bibo. I am very self-aware." "Go ahead." Mo Yun asked what he wanted to know the most. "Master Bibo, what are the 3 crystals on the Godhead?" 3 crystals. Why do you ask this? You have no Godhead." "He has a Godhead." The new slaves made a taunting voice. He ignored the words of the Lord Yate and chose the system Godhead, so he was demoted to a slave. "Is it the system Godhead who can't absorb elements and has no ability?" Goblin Bibo was thoughtful. "It seems that you really don't need bread. Since you asked, I'll tell you. The 3 crystals are the 3 abilities of the Godhead, and the ability of the first crystal can be possessed after obtaining the Godhead. The second one needs to accumulate 1 year of divine power. The third one needs to accumulate 10 years of divine power. However, if you want to refine the crystal from white to gray, you need to accumulate at least 200 years of divine power. If the crystal turns from white to gray, you are a noble son of God." After nightfall, the slaves all slept in the cave, with men sleeping on the left and women sleeping on the right. As for the goblin Bibo, he also slept here. Bibo has a rollaway bed, which is simple, but Bibo is the only one of them all who has a bed. The others were lying on the ground, and it was extremely hot in the cave, so many people were destined to suffer from insomnia tonight. Mo Yun also didn't fall asleep, he was pondering Bibo's words over and over again. The ability of his first crystal is 10 times the cultivation system, so the remaining 2 crystals can obviously obtain other systems. The crystal can change from white to gray, which should mean that the system is upgradable. As for the supernatural power that Bibo said, if it is correct, it should be the cultivation value displayed in the cultivation system. Although Mo Yun has a 10-fold training system now, this system is functional and has not brought Mo Yun an improvement in force. If you want to survive in this world, you can't do without force. Mo Yun urgently needs to open the second Godhead crystal to obtain a system that can give him the ability to protect himself. Is it a year of divine power? Mo Yun thought to himself. Coincidentally, at this time, the 10 times system has completed the 1-day settlement. Ding! The practice is completed in 1 day, and the total practice value obtained is 11.8 days. Although the training speed is 22.1 days, Mo Yun has only been here for less than half a day, so the total training value obtained in the carriage is 11.8 days. Mo Yun looked outside the cave, and if he guessed right, it seems that the training system is settled at 2400 every night. On the 11.8th, the practice value poured into Mo Yun's body, which gave him the feeling of washing the pulse and cutting the marrow again. He felt that his body became much stronger, and the first gem of the Godhead was also a little brighter. At this point, the system updates the situation for the new day. Environmental characteristics have been detected. The current environment practice speed is 1.8 days, and the cultivation system multiple is 15 times. The current environment practice speed is 27 days. Mo Yun noticed a slight difference. He remembered clearly that yesterday's cultivation speed was 22.1 days, but today it turned into 27 days. Mo Yun was not immersed in the joy of faster cultivation, but seriously thought about the reasons for the change. Perhaps, this can greatly shorten the process of him obtaining divine power for a year. Mo Yun moved his body gently in the cave, always paying attention to the changes in the cultivation system. Suddenly, the value of the cultivation system jumped, from 1.8 to 1.9, and then to 1.8 again. After some probing by Mo Yun, a small stone emitting red light attracted Mo Yun's attention. This is the fragment of the Huishan mine. Holding the fragments in your hand, you can feel the temperature in them. Mo Yun checked the cultivation system and was immediately elated. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 2.0 days, the cultivation system multiplier is 18 times, and the cultivation speed in the current environment is 36 days. Using the fragments of the Huishan mine, he only needs less than 10 days to accumulate divine power for a year. Wrong. Looking at the closed volcanic furnace, Mo Yun knew it. It won't take 10 days at all. Snapped. In the crisp sound of the whip, the goblin Bibo woke up everyone, and he still gave orders arrogantly. New slaves, I took special care of you yesterday because you just arrived. Today, you are responsible for digging out the boiler. The huge volcanic furnace is extremely hot, and the slaves need to scrape out the impurities behind the Huishan mine furnace to prevent the volcano from clogging and erupting. This work is obviously the cruelest. Mo Yun also finally understood why the old slaves would make surprise noises when they saw the newcomers again. Naturally, the new slaves had no choice. They came to the fiery furnace with their tools, and a gust of hot air just happened to spew out from the furnace. The intense burning sensation made people feel as if they were being placed on the furnace, which was almost unbearable. Mo Yun checked the system. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 2.0 days, the cultivation system multiplier is 16 times, and the cultivation speed in the current environment is 32 days. Obviously working here is faster than transporting war ash, but Mo Yun feels he has better options. Among the impurities that were taken out were fragments of the Huishan mine, and slaves were responsible for picking them out, which is why Mo Yun was able to pick up the fragments of the Huishan mine. The cold stove he burned yesterday should come in handy now. Master Bibo, I really want to do the work of picking ore fragments. I wonder if you can agree to my request. Goblin Bibo looked at Mo Yun, saw Mo Yun standing respectfully, without a trace of neglect. Such a humble attitude made him very comfortable, and said, Okay then, you go pick out the debris. You go dig out the boiler. The person whose job was replaced dared not speak out, but could only stare at Mo Yun viciously. As for the new slaves, they even murmured softly. It turns out that's why he bribed yesterday, what a clown. The king's side is corrupt because of such a courtier country. I didn't expect the gods to encounter it. Disgusting. Mo Yun smiled coldly in his heart, he didn't care about these people at all. A group of idiots, who have become slaves and pretend to be noble, don't know if they are really noble, or they can't save face. Under the envious and jealous eyes of this group of people, Mo Yun sat calmly at the position of picking the fragments of Huishan mine. Here, Mo Yun was not disappointed. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 3.2 days, and the cultivation system multiplier is 25 times. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 80 days. The practice speed of 80 days a day is still not the limit of Mo Yun. When he put his hand into the basket full of Huishan stone fragments, the practice speed reached an astonishing 3.5 days, and the system multiplier reached 31 times. The daily practice speed as high as 108.5 made Mo Yun excited. In this way, within a few days, he will be able to light up the second crystal on the Godhead. However, Mo Yun's movements are also very careful. The Huishan stone fragment that he found yesterday lost its strength and turned into an ordinary stone the next morning. Obviously, the divine power in it has been exhausted. Therefore, When handling the ore fragments in his hands, Mo Yun was very cautious, so as not to be seen by others. Just when Mo Yun was working in full swing, he heard a pleasant voice. Master Bibo, I also really want to do the work of picking ore fragments. Glancing out of the corner of Mo Yun's eyes, an unlucky guy was rearranged into the boiler, and the stunning silver-haired elf came and sat down next to Mo Yun, and began to pick out the pieces. As for the goblin Bibo, it seems that just because of the stunning elves, Master Bibo, he gets carried away with joy. Looking at the profile of the silver-haired female elf, Mo Yun couldn't help but sigh in his heart, it's so beautiful. If it was me, I would definitely occupy this stunning female elf immediately without hesitation, and I don't know what the demigod Ader is thinking. You are very smart and know the times. Mo Yun praised the stunning elf in a low voice. Don't talk to me, dirty fool. Being insulted by the stunning elves, Mo Yun found that he was not angry. Maybe it's because men have double standards, or maybe they're used to being scolded. After all, compared to those people yelling, this dirty fool can be called melodious. Mo Yun said lightly, everyone is a slave, it's the same now. I'm not the same as you, I'm Elsa Fengyu, but a noble holy elf, the successor of Fengyu's title. The stunning elf glared at Mo Yun, sooner or later, I will obtain the supreme Fengshen deity, and you will end the rest of your life here. Hearing this, Mo Yun couldn't help sneering, do noble saint elves also need to please Mr. Bibo? Elsa glanced at Mo Yun coldly, and stopped talking to Mo Yun. Mo Yun said thoughtfully, could it be that you have other godheads you can choose but gave up, and you are persistent in wanting the wind godhead? Seeing Elsa's shaking hand, Mo Yun knew that he had guessed right, and laughed, idiot. The idiot who chooses the system godhead is not qualified to accuse me. Elsa lowered her head and concentrated on picking out the pieces, as if she had made up her mind not to talk to Mo Yun again. Mo Yun also continued to work, but there was a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. The idiot who chose the system godhead. Stupid or not, you'll soon find out. ... Ding, the practice is completed in 1 day, and the total practice value obtained is 72.3 days. In the middle of the night, the settlement of the system dilutes the irritability of Mo Yun's simple work for more than 10 hours in a row. When the divine power of 72.3 day poured into his body, Mo Yun's comfortable toes were almost stretched. He immediately checked the cultivation system. Host, Mo Yun. Practice value, March 4.3. Current environment practice speed, 2.6 days 20 times unit, day. He has accumulated divine power for 3 months now. Counting the drag down by sleeping for a few hours this morning, he can obtain at least 80 days of divine power in 1 day. In this way, he only needs 4 days at most to light up the second Godhead crystal. Compared with the improvement brought by the cultivation system, the 0.1 day supernatural power of bread is better than nothing for Mo Yun. However, Mo Yun did not dedicate both pieces of bread to Bibo because of this, he still needed to eat 1 piece to deceive others. Of course, that piece of bread was not given in vain. He got a lot of useful information from Bibo. Before there is enough confidence, such a slave life can only be continued temporarily. Try your guts. Whispering to himself, Mo Yun turned over and fell into a deep sleep. Ding, the practice is completed in 1 day, and the total practice value obtained is 87.6 days. Ding, the training is completed in 1 day, and the total training value obtained is 91.1 days. 2 days later in a row, Mo Yun was pleasantly surprised to see that his cultivation value had broken through the 9-month mark. As long as there is 1 more day like this, he will be able to obtain the second system. But other people are obviously not as happy as Mo Yun. The mentality of the new slaves who have become familiar with working here is subtly changing. Working for more than 10 hours a day in extreme heat and pain, I was completely trapped in this cave without seeing the light of day. After coming to the God realm, all creatures no longer need to excrete, but this makes everyone even have no chance to let the air go. And the next chance to go to the temple to obtain Godhead will be 10 years later. The gods are very indifferent to the concept of time. 10 years is just a snap of the fingers, but for these slaves who have just arrived in the gods, 10 years is really too difficult. I don't agree. Several human slaves finally broke out. It's okay for Her Royal Highness Elsa, why does this fool do such a leisurely job every time? Facing the doubts from the slaves, Goblin Bibo whipped his whip heavily and cursed, "You are slaves, and the duty of a slave is to work obediently and obediently. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you. HMPH, we are not afraid of you." Several new slaves had already known that Bibo did not have the authority to beat slaves in the past few days, and they all clamored at this time. "A bunch of idiots," Mo Yun sneered in his heart. Judging from the indifferent eyes of those old slaves, it was obviously not a good thing to contradict Bibo. Although Bibo does not have the authority to punish slaves, other supervisors do. As expected, Goblin Bibo walked out angrily. But soon, almost at the time when Bibo had just left the house, he came back, and there was a troll with him. Sharp fangs grew out of the troll's jaw, and a golden circle was set on it. Ring. "Master Ganti, I didn't know you were patrolling here." Ganti. Mo Yun clearly remembered the name. This territory is composed of more than a dozen mining areas and a market, and the leader in charge of this mining area is the godman Ganti. According to the half-orc Kantor, Ganti has at least 100 years of supernatural power, and he has been the leader of this mining area for at least 50 years. The troll Ganti scanned the cave and asked Bibo, "Who is making trouble here?" "My lord, it's them." Following Bibo's finger, the troll Ganti saw the 3 human slaves, sneered, and waved the golden whip in his hand like a poisonous snake. Accompanied by the crisp sound and bloody light, the 3 humans crawled on the ground. Their backs were completely stained red with blood, and everyone showed expressions of extreme pain. "Holy Spirit." The troll Ganti looked around the cave and stopped on Elsa's body for a while, as if surprised that she appeared here. Then, his eyes rested on Mo Yun. An ominous feeling emerged in Mo Yun's heart. Did he make trouble? No, Lord Ganti, he has always done his duty. Mo Yun breathed a sigh of relief. The bread he bribed seemed to work. HMPH. How can a mixed race not cause trouble? He must have hidden evil intentions. Before Mo Yun could react, a strong pain came from his back, and Mo Yun grinned in pain. Ganti said coldly, "This can be regarded as an early whip." Ganti swaggered away, and Mo Yun clenched his fists tightly. This account. He wrote it down. The sudden and indiscriminate disaster was not over yet. After Ganti left, the Goblin Bibo's attitude towards Mo Yun changed 180 degrees, and he scolded coldly. "From now on, you don't have to pick and choose pieces anymore. I have a new job for you." There are some laughing and gloating comments all around. The fool really got the treatment he deserved. Retribution. This is the retribution for what he did. For example, in our place, this kind of idiot with the blood of evil demons at first glance, we are all imprisoned with pigs, today is considered cheap for him. Mo Yun looked at this group of insensitive guys coldly. It's not terrible to be a slave, but what's terrible is that you really think of yourself as a slave in your heart. It's ridiculous that these slaves still have a superficial sense of superiority. Mo Yun is too lazy to argue with these idiots. He has the most noble Yanwang blood in his body. This point, only he himself knows enough. Come out. Under Bibo's urging, Mo Yun endured the intense pain in his back and followed Bibo out. Mo Yun followed Bibo to the crater. This was the first time he saw the scenery outside since he entered the cave, but it was not a lucky thing. According to the half-orc Kantor, the most dangerous job for the Ashes slaves is in this crater. A heat wave could rise from the crater at any time. Once it was engulfed by the heat wave, even the gods would perish, not to mention the slaves who had not obtained the Godhead. Mo Yun sighed inwardly. What disappointed him the most was not the dangerous work in the crater, but the fact that he only needed to do one more day of picking work to accumulate divine power for a year. From now on, you are responsible for salvaging the impurities on the surface of the volcano. Bibo left behind a sentence, turned and left. When Mo Yun saw everything in front of him, he was surprised and speechless. Yes, it was a surprise. The crater is indeed very dangerous. 7 or 8 tall species, including rhino, elephant, and ogre, threw the Huishan mine into the crater, and every time they splashed a huge wave of lava 1 or 2 meters high. The heat here is also terrifying, at least 10 times hotter than the volcano on Blue Mercury. If Mo Yun's body had not been nourished by divine power, he doubted that he would be roasted. But what surprised Mo Yun was the huge Huishan stones randomly placed in the crater. After seeing these Huishan stones again, Mo Yun realized that what he had picked before were really fragments of Huishan stones, the ones that were so broken that they could not be broken. The egg-sized fragments that he took pains to hide were hardly worth mentioning in front of these Huishan stones that were as big as watermelons, wash basins, or even millstones. Mo Yun picked up the tools used to salvage impurities, and touched a huge Huishan stone with different sensuality. Ding! The environmental characteristics have been detected. The current environment cultivation speed is 6.8 days, and the cultivation system multiplier is 35 times. The current environment cultivation speed is 238 days. Cool, so cool. If you practice here for one day, you can get at least half a year's worth of practice. Misfortunes and blessings depend on, the ancients never deceived me. Considering that his own absorption will make the Huishan stone fade, Mo Yun adopted the strategy of evenly spreading the rain and dew. While salvaging the impurities in the volcano, he touched the Huishan stone carefully. A few hours later, Mo Yun suddenly found that the Godhead had changed. The second crystal on the Godhead lit up. Mo Yun was pleasantly surprised, but also a little puzzled. Isn't the practice system settled at 24 o'clock every night? Mo Yun took a look inside and found that the cultivation system had not been settled yet, but Godhead seemed to think that he had reached the level of accumulating divine power for a year, so he lit up the second crystal. Mo Yun suppressed his excitement, and said to Shenge, "Give me a system that can have strength." At this time, the second of the 3 transparent gemstones on the Godhead lit up with white light. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a 10 times enhanced system. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 10 times the cultivation system. The host can check his own situation through the system. Check. Then, a system panel similar to the cultivation system appeared in front of Mo Yun. It appears that each system panel is independent of the other. Host. Mo Yun. Current enhancements. None. The triggering method of the enhanced system is conditional triggering. Condition trigger. Mo Yun said something secretly, and he checked the training system again, and found that the training system was triggered automatically. Does this mean that the enhanced system needs to meet certain conditions to be effective? Without giving Mo Yun any time to think, the big rhino yelled at Mo Yun. Mixed blood. Don't you see that the crater is filled with impurities? Mo Yun looked at the crater. There were indeed some impurities left by refining Huishan ore in the magma, but only a few. It is even more incompatible with the so-called degree of filling. Mo Yun raised his head and saw those big miners looking at him with mocking smiles full of superiority. Another group of idiots. This group of freaks who have been reduced to slaves but still maintain a sense of superiority reminds Mo Yun of a magical country full of castes in Blue Star. However, he still has to do the work of salvaging impurities. When Mo Yun was fishing for impurities, suddenly a huge piece of Huishan mine was thrown in front of Mo Yun, and the splashing waves of flames almost splashed on Mo Yun's body. The group of big slaves laughed when they saw Mo Yun's appearance. Mo Yun finally understood why crater cleaning is the most dangerous job. It turned out that it was because of such a group of idiots who were joking while suffering. But at this moment, the sound of the system suddenly sounded. Ding! It is detected that the host has experienced intense heat, and the flame resistance has been strengthened by 11 times. Mo Yun was startled, but then he was overjoyed. It turns out that the so-called conditional trigger is to meet the conditions for the generation of reinforcement. After strengthening the flame resistance 11 times, Mo Yun instantly felt that the heat of the crater dropped a lot. It was originally unbearably hot, but now it is a little hot at best. Several big guys deliberately threw more Huishan ore in front of Mo Yun. Mo Yun didn't bother to talk to these idiots, he observed their movements cautiously while carefully avoiding them, and of course he didn't forget to secretly practice with Huishan stone. After about an hour or so, these big guys also felt dull, so they stopped throwing ore in front of Mo Yun continuously. Only occasionally will drop a piece. However, throwing ore occasionally is more dangerous than throwing it all the time. Because this sudden danger will be even more difficult for people to guard against. Mo Yun can only concentrate on it to avoid getting into danger. Ding! It is detected that the host has undergone perception training, and the perception has been strengthened by 10 times. The perception has been strengthened tenfold. Mo Yun was secretly pleasantly surprised. He found that after his perception was strengthened tenfold, he could detect the small movements of these big slaves without looking, and he knew at a glance what they wanted to do to hurt him. A few big slaves soon discovered something strange about Mo Yun. This half-breed doesn't seem to be afraid of us. HMPH. He managed to avoid it, so he must beg for mercy today. They made up their minds to subdue Mo Yun. The last guy who cleaned up the impurities in the crater finally knelt on the ground and kowtowed to each of them 10 times before they let them go. This mixed idiot is actually quite rebellious. Who gave him the courage? These idiots seem to have started again. Mo Yun narrowed his eyes. He just wanted to strengthen more abilities for the time being, and had no plans to settle accounts with these idiots. But if they don't know good from bad, I will definitely repay them well. Sure enough, the big guys started throwing Huishan mines into the magma in front of Mo Yun again, and some even threw them directly at Mo Yun's body. With tenfold perception, Mo Yun easily avoided these dangers and questioned them. What are you guys doing? I accidentally threw it crook just now. Why should I explain it to you, a half-breed? It seems that because there is no overseer, the actions of several big slaves are more unscrupulous. Mo Yun can only dodge patiently. But soon, Mo Yun didn't care about the threat of these idiots. Ding! It is detected that the host has undergone agility training, and the agility has been strengthened by 15 times. 15 times more agile. Mo Yun found that his eyes seem to be able to capture 15 times more information than before, and his body seems to be flexible enough to make any movements. The Huishan mine thrown by these big guys is like a joke at this time. Seeing that Mo Yun avoided all the dangers very easily, the several big guys looked at each other and felt offended. At this time, the rhinoceros sneaked up behind Mo Yun and cooperated with another elephant. The elephant man picked up a huge rock and threw it in front of Mo Yun, while the rhinoceros man saw it and rammed it behind Mo Yun, shouting, "Accidentally bumped into you." However, just when he thought he bumped into Mo Yun suddenly disappeared in front of him. The rhinoceros stared blankly, staggered 2 steps forward, stood upright suddenly, and let out a long breath looking at the crater that was close at hand. But what he didn't expect was that the boulder thrown by someone just happened to splash a burst of hot magma. Ah! A miserable cry resounded through the sky. Mo Yun, who was hiding behind the rhinoceros, sneered. "That's it. Ask for trouble, baby. What did you do?" Rhino roared at Elephant Man. "Austin, it's not my fault. You understand it yourself," Elephant Man explained. But the scorched rhinoceros didn't listen to the Elephant Man's explanation at all. Fortunately, he was a rhinoceros with rough skin and thick flesh. If he was a human, he might have been burned to death by the magma just now. The rhinoceros man rushed in front of the elephant man and punched him, and the two quickly scuffled together. The fight between the two people who were 7 meters tall together was naturally shaking for a while. At this moment, a figure descended from the sky. He had a pair of eagle wings and held a long silver whip in his hand. He slapped the 2 big men fiercely. "Slave, what are you doing?" The 2 big men received a full 20 lashes each, and even with thick skin like them, they were covered in blood. "Next time, I will throw you into the volcano." The eagle overseer dropped a harsh word, and flew into the sky with wings flapping. However, Mo Yun felt that the eagle overseer was just talking harshly, and he should only have the right to whip the slaves. Mo Yun still remembered that Gonti was holding what seemed to be a golden whip, Eagle Overseer's whip was silver, and Goblin Bebo's whip was of normal color. This seems to be the grade in the mine overseer. Mo Yun observed the sky with his perception, and soon caught a black spot hovering on the ground, which should be the overseer eagle. He was always in the sky, no wonder I didn't notice him. Calm was restored on the crater, and the big guys didn't dare to touch Mo Yun's bad luck anymore. Although the Rhino Man and Elephant Man were covered in blood, they still had to continue working. They looked at each other resentfully, as if they would never trouble Mo Yun again. This made Mo Yun a little disappointed. He didn't mind a little more trouble so that he could get more enhancements. Ding! It is detected that the host has experienced intense heat, and the flame resistance has been strengthened by 13 times. Another fire resistance enhancement. Mo Yun quickly checked the reinforcement system, and found that the flame resistance enhancement has changed from 11 times to 24 times. Mo Yun is a little bit regretful. It turns out that there is an addition between the 2 enhancements. If it can be multiplied, it would be awesome. But multiplication is also good. maybe multiplication will only be triggered once, but addition can be triggered multiple times, stacking a certain characteristic extremely high. Mo Yun felt that his heat resistance had reached a new level. He even had the feeling that he could plunge his hand into the magma for a second and then pull it out without any harm. Time soon came to the evening. The work on the crater was over, and Mo Yun returned to the cave. The slaves in the cave pointed at Mo Yun and talked about it. "This fool is not dead yet. I really don't know how he survived. Maybe he kowtowed to those big guys and begged for mercy. A treacherous villain like him will definitely betray his dignity without hesitation. By the way, how do you know such a thing as kowtowing to a big guy?" Ahem. Mo Yun didn't care about these people's comments at all, and focused on checking the reinforcement system. Host: Mo Yun. Current enhancement: 47 times fire resistance, 10 times perception, 15 times agility. The system has been strengthened 6 times in total. To Mo Yun's regret, 4 of them have been strengthened on fire resistance. Mo Yun even feels that he has no fear of fire at all. Although here with volcanoes, fire resistance is a very useful enhancement. But Mo Yun wants to be more average and get some more solid reinforcements so that he can have enough sense of security. Mo Yun recalled the experience of the day. The 10 times perception and 15 times agility are all produced in the environment where the big guys want to hurt maliciously. In other words, in order to obtain the corresponding reinforcement, one must first have the corresponding external environment. This conclusion is also completely consistent with the conditional trigger of the tenfold strengthening system. If it is simply passively strengthened, if there is no other danger, then I am afraid that it will only get flame resistance. If you take the initiative to put yourself in danger, if the old horse stumbles, you will be doomed, and the gain will not be worth the loss. Etc. Mo Yun suddenly discovered a blind spot. Maybe the condition, mentioned by the conditional trigger, is not the danger I imagined, but difficulty. With such a guess, Mo Yun ate 2 pieces of bread and fell asleep early. As for bribing Bibo, since Bibo broke his face first, there is no need for him to bribe again. Get up. Work. Early in the morning, Mo Yun was woken up early by Goblin Bibo. It seems that he didn't get extra magic bread yesterday, which made Goblin Bibo very angry. Mo Yun didn't care, and followed Bibo to the crater, where miners and slaves were carrying unprocessed huishan ore up the mountain. With a thought, Mo Yun stepped forward and said, "Let me help." The miners and slaves looked at Mo Yun with weird eyes. Slaves have always been lazy and seldom worked. This is the first time they have seen such slaves who take the initiative to find work. Mo Yun didn't care so much, and concentrated on helping to carry the huishan mines. Apart from providing him with enough cultivation points, these huishan mines were exactly the difficulties Mo Yun needed. Mo Yun had a hard time carrying it, but he enjoyed it because it was exactly what he wanted. At this point, the system responded. Ding! It is detected that the host has passed the test of strength, and the strength has been strengthened by 12 times. My guess was right. Mo Yun was amazed to observe the changes in his body. After strengthening his strength tenfold, he felt as if explosives had been added to his muscles, and he could feel powerful power with a slight movement. Huishan mine, which used to be very difficult to lift, can now be picked up with only one hand. Mo Yun suppressed his surprise and continued to move the huishan mine. The miners and slaves were surprised to find that Mo Yun, who could only lift a small piece of ore just now, could easily lift a huge ore. It seemed that everything just now was just a play by Mo Yun. The miners and slaves agreed that Mo Yun was just pretending to be lazy just now, and they don't know why, so they stopped pretending now. Although there is another point that is very strange, that is, since Mo Yun wants to be lazy, why does he offer to help? Everyone shook their heads and decided not to think about this logically contradictory question anymore. After transporting several carts of huishan mines to the side of the crater, Mo Yun strengthened his strength twice and his stamina once. His current strength is 25 times that of before, and Mo Yun felt that he even punched Huishan Shi with one punch. As for endurance, Mo Yun feels that his heart and lungs have been completely strengthened, every beat of the heart is so powerful, and every breath is very long. However, after seeing the arrival of Rhino Man and Elephant Man, Mo Yun lost his pride. His 25 times strength seems to have not surpassed these big guys. Considering that the basic attributes of his body have been baptized by divine power, after being strengthened by 25 times, it may not be too much different from the strength of these big guys. But Mo Yun feels that such strength is not enough. After all, it is nothing to be stronger than a few slaves. After discovering that difficulties are the triggers to strengthen the system, Mo Yun began to actively find things to do for himself. He even snatched a few big slaves. The big slaves saw Mo Yun taking the initiative to do things with a humble attitude, thinking that Mo Yun had given in, so naturally they didn't think much about it. They are happy to see Mo Yun help them work, and they are lazy too. Ding. It is detected that the host has passed the test of strength, and the strength has been strengthened by 12 times. Ding. It is detected that the host has passed the endurance test, and the endurance has been strengthened by 17 times. Ding. It is detected that the host has experienced intense heat, and the flame resistance has been strengthened by 10 times. After a few days, Mo Yun has been strengthened in all directions. 21 times perception, 41 times agility, 75 times strength, 36 times stamina, 11 times vitality, and 156 times fire resistance. Mo Yun found that as his body was strengthened, it became more difficult to obtain the next strengthening step by step. From the beginning, when he moved a few trucks of Huishan mine, he could strengthen his strength twice, but now it is possible to strengthen it less than once a day, and the speed of self-improvement began to slow down. Only fire resistance, because it is located in the crater, its strengthening frequency is the highest, and there is no need for Mo Yun to do anything. It can be strengthened by passively enduring the burning of the volcano. Ding. It is detected that the host has experienced intense heat, and the flame resistance has been strengthened by 13 times. Another fire resistance enhancement. Mo Yun smiled. He even dared to use his hands to salvage the Huishan mine from the magma. If he continues to strengthen like this, he doubts that he can even take a bath in the volcano. What Mo Yun didn't expect was that his suspicions seemed to be coming true. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the first level of divinity, fire resistance. Elementary divinity. What is this? Mo Yun looked at the system panel in surprise. On the panel, there was an extra word of elementary divinity, fire resistance. Intuition tells Mo Yun that the knowledge obtained by the gods should contain information about divinity, but unfortunately, he has already broken his face with the goblin Bibo, and there is no way to ask Bibo anymore. But one thing is certain. That is, divinity must be a good thing. Since there is a low-level divinity, there must be a high-level divinity. Since there is flame resistance, there should be something else too. Mo Yun looked at his other strengthened attributes. Strength, agility, perception, endurance, vitality, no matter which one, as long as one gains divinity, there should be fundamental changes. While Mo Yun was thinking, the overseer eagle fell from the sky and came to Mo Yun's side. According to Mo Yun's observations, the eagle overseer would randomly stop near the several craters he was in charge of, and watch the slaves work while resting. But this time, the eagle overseer named Isuobi seemed to have a slight interest in Mo Yun. May I have your name? Lord Isobi, my name is Mo Yun. You seem to be a slave in charge of cleaning the ashes. Why did I see you salvage the ore? My lord, I just did something within my power. Isuobi nodded slightly, and said, not bad, very good. Mo Yun, although you are a mixed fool, you are a good slave. Mo Yun agreed on the surface, but cursed secretly in his heart. You're the half-breed. Your whole family are good slaves. This piece of jerky is for you. Isuobi threw a piece of jerky to Mo Yun, and said to the other slaves, look, I will learn from Mo Yun in the future. In an instant, Mo Yun felt that there were several eyes behind him that seemed to want to eat his eyes. It's not a compliment for Isuobi, it's clearly setting him on fire. Isobi flapped his wings and left, and the atmosphere in the crater was indeed on the other side. Mo Yun, who had already eased the relationship with the big guy, found that their eyes became unfriendly again. Mo Yun didn't expect much from these pathetic guys either. They are full of idiots who can't do anything, and are the number one in the nest. These idiots even make Mo Yun sometimes think that slavery might be a very reasonable system. However, it is also time for him to consider. End this ridiculous slavery. Chapter 11. Mo Yun feels that he is now qualified to consider the issue of freedom. After a few days of settlement in the cultivation system, his current cultivation value has reached 3 years and 7 months. Such a cultivation base is actually nothing among the gods. After all, as far as he knew, Ganti, the leader of the mining area, possessed at least 100 years of divine power. Meeting 100 years with less than 4 years of divine power is obviously like an egg hitting a stone. Although Mo Yun still has a strengthening system, judging from the 3 crystals on each Godhead, Ganti obviously also has his abilities. So when the gap in divine power was too great, Mo Yun couldn't bear the idea of confronting Ganti. Fortunately, his growth rate is extremely fast. With his current practice speed of at least 180 days a day, it only takes 200 days for 100 years of divine power. 200 days. Mo Yun frowned slightly, it was still too long. He didn't think he could bear it that long. Time to eat. The centaur chef came to the cave to distribute the bread. Mo Yun took the 2 pieces of magic bread that belonged to him, and looked up at Bibo, only to find that Bibo was also looking at him. Mo Yun didn't expect the goblin to care about face, and Bibo turned his head too far. An idea popped into Mo Yun's mind. Mo Yun stood up and walked to Bibo's side. What are you trying to do? Goblin Bibo whipped his whip fiercely, staring at Mo Yun with disgust. Mo Yun calmly took out a piece of jerky from his bosom. Bibo was taken aback, and looked at Mo Yun in surprise. You have jerky like this? Could it be you who stole it? How dare you steal divine power jerky? You will be thrown into the magma and burned to death. Master Bibo, you can see clearly. This is a reward from Master Isobi. Master Isobi. Bibo was obviously taken aback. If you don't believe it, just go and ask Lord Isobi. If it is false, I will hang myself. What you said is true. Bibo saw that Mo Yun was plausible, not like a lie, and asked suspiciously, why did Lord Isobi give you jerky? Master Isobi appreciates me very much, saying that he has never seen such an excellent slave like me. Although Mo Yun felt insulted by Isobi's words, Mo Yun didn't mind using this to benefit himself. A man can bend and stretch, and if you suffer a loss now, you will eventually pay back 10 times and 100 times in the future. Lord Isobi admires you very much. Bibo looked at Mo Yun in surprise, obviously not convinced. But those new slaves immediately believed Mo Yun's words and cursed in a low voice. Traitor, shameless villain, he must be flattering his new master again. Crafters can always find opportunities to climb up, and despicable people are always shameless, but the rich and powerful are still doing this. It's disgusting. After hearing these people's words, Bibo suddenly believed that Mo Yun found Isobi as a new backer. After all, Mo Yun used to flatter himself like that. This mixed fool is probably mixed with the most shameless blood of lemurs and human beings, so it really shouldn't be underestimated. Knowing that Mo Yun has a new backer, Bibo can't help but feel a little awkward, but he can't do anything to Mo Yun, he said angrily. So, you're showing off your jerky to me? No, Master Bibo. I want to dedicate this piece of jerky to you. Give it to me. Bibo was stunned for a moment. The 2 of them obviously turned their faces like that, and Mo Yun actually dedicated himself to the jerky. Seeing Mo Yun as if he had never turned his face, Bibo couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Human courtiers are really terrible, no wonder they can fool the king around. As a goblin, Bibo has never had such a sense of vanity. Okay, I accept your jerky. Bibo quickly took the jerky, took a bite in satisfaction, and said, in return, I can answer some questions for you. That's exactly what I was looking for. There were whispers of, despicable, and, disgusting, from the slaves, but Mo Yun didn't care. Now that he is already a slave, his dignity has long been trampled under his feet, and the momentary honor and disgrace is nothing. Master Bibo, do you know what divinity is? Divinity, how do you know this? Bibo bit the jerky and looked at Mo Yun suspiciously. I heard it from Lord Isobi. Oh, you actually heard this from Mr. Isobi. It seems that Mrs. Isobi really values you. Bibo's tone towards Mo Yun was much more polite. Divinity is the passive ability acquired by gods through martial arts training and spell training. The more divinity you have, the stronger you will be. Through martial arts training, magic training. Mo Yun was stunned for a moment, then asked, can't there be other ways? Other methods are also possible, but it is very difficult. In comparison, martial arts and magic training is much simpler. Bibo couldn't help laughing at Mo Yun. Are you trying to gain divinity? Although you have a Godhead, that waste Godhead can't absorb elements. A Godhead that can't absorb elements will definitely not be able to obtain divinity. You'd better not have these things. Naively fantasized. Master Bibo, thank you for your answer, I will never have those naive fantasies again. Mo Yun said respectfully, but secretly surprised in his heart. Can one gain divinity through martial arts or spell training? Is it easier to obtain divinity through martial arts or spell training than other methods? This news is very critical. This piece of jerky for Bibo is a big profit. Lying in the cave, Mo Yun thought about the items that could be trained. Naturally, spell training is not considered for the time being. As for martial arts training, it would be great if he could practice swords and knives, but he is a slave now, practicing martial arts openly will definitely cause trouble. Is there any martial arts that can be practiced very obscurely? Mo Yun tossed and turned for a while, thinking about it carefully, not to mention the hidden martial arts, he didn't seem to know anything about the bright and legitimate martial arts training methods. Mo Yun, who couldn't sleep, closed his eyes and listened to his breathing quietly. Suddenly, a long memory came to mind. He suddenly remembered that he once saw a Taoist video on the internet about breathing and breathing. At that time, the martial arts master said that this is the internal strength of Taoism. At that time, he still thought it was very interesting and practiced for a week, but unfortunately he didn't feel any changes, and finally nothing happened. I hope that master is not a liar. Mo Yun tried hard to recall the details, and began to be able to control the rhythm of his breathing. Through abdominal breathing, he extracts all the nutrients in the air, and at the same time, makes his breath very long. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. I don't know how long it took, and suddenly a system sound sounded. Ding! It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 13 times the strengthening of the breathing method. So fast. Mo Yun was overjoyed secretly. Bibo did not lie to himself. The speed of divinity acquired through training was indeed much faster than other methods. Thinking about it now, it is actually the slowest to endure the volcanic scorching, but Shengzai is enduring it all the time, so the progress of strengthening is currently the highest. Carrying heavy objects is actually an indirect active training, so when it is very strenuous at the beginning, the effect is the best, because it is very similar to active training at that time. Later, when the strength increases, the progress will naturally slow down without feeling strenuous. Martial arts training is an act of challenging one's upper limit all the time, which is to actively meet the difficult conditions of the strengthening system. Mo Yun is no longer distracted. Strike while the iron is hot. When practicing breathing and breathing, you need to concentrate on it. Overnight, Mo Yun didn't know when he fell asleep, but he was pleasantly surprised to find that his breathing method seemed to have begun to become instinctive. He remembered that the master who taught the breathing method said that as long as the breathing method is maintained for a period of time, it can be turned into instinct. When standing up from the ground, Mo Yun felt that his body seemed much lighter. This is the feeling he only had when his agility was strengthened. After carefully examining the changes in his body, Mo Yun found that it was his agility that had improved. After a night of hard work, the breathing and breathing method was unknowingly strengthened 3 times. And the multiple of 1 time is higher than 1 time. 13 times from the first time. 16 times to the second time. 21 times to the third time. 3 times, the breath-breathing method has been strengthened by 50 times. Perhaps it is because Mo Yun fell asleep that he has reached the natural state of Taoism required by Taoist breathing method. The 50 times strengthened breathing method naturally made him very different from before. Mo Yun felt a very obvious difference. His body is more rhythmic and lighter. With every gesture, you can clearly feel the power flowing in your body. Although the power itself has not changed, Mo Yun feels that he can explode at least 1.5 times as much as before. Moreover, after he gained strength enhancement, he occasionally felt that his strength was a little out of control, but now he no longer feels this way. All the power will be well restrained in the muscles, usually not showing the edge at all, but as long as he wants to release it, he can achieve an instant burst effect. What surprised Mo Yun even more was that the speed of absorbing elements seemed to increase by 10%. There are also some imperceptible changes, such as body coordination, balance, etc., which seem to have made great progress. No wonder it is said that practicing martial arts starts with practicing internal strength, and the 50 times breathing method has brought him an all-round improvement. It's as if the I Ching has washed its marrow, and it's been completely reborn. Mo Yun secretly decided to get the divinity of breathing method first. Mo Yun continued to work in the crater, while secretly practicing breathing and breathing techniques. However, the progress of breathing and breathing methods still began to slow down after all, perhaps because there was not as much pressure as in the beginning of the practice. Because of being praised by Sob, the big guy on the top of the mountain found trouble with Mo Yun again, and after throwing stones to splash the magma didn't work, these guys started insulting Mo Yun in various languages. The sound of mixed idiot will inevitably distract Mo Yun. But Mo Yun soon discovered that trying to restrain himself from being distracted and concentrating seems to be regarded as a kind of challenge, and in this case, the progress of the breathing method has increased instead. 2 more days passed. Mo Yun was meditating in the cave, and the slaves pointed at Mo Yun's strange sitting posture and laughed one after another, but Mo Yun regarded the ridicule and insult as a test, and let out a long breath. His breath-breathing method has reached 349 times, and he did not gain divinity when he was 160 times like the flame resistance. But Mo Yun was not disappointed, on the contrary, he looked forward to it even more. It's as if shrubs only need 1 year to grow, but towering trees need tens or hundreds of years. A long wait will inevitably bring a deeper foundation. Mo Yun has an intuition that the divinity of breath is coming soon. Ding! It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 13 times the strengthening of the breathing method. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the first-level divinity, 3 flowers gather. Mo Yun let out a long breath, an unprecedented feeling filled his limbs and bones. This feeling is really so cool, as if the whole person has become extraordinary, the development of the body has reached an unprecedented level, and even the smallest changes and reactions of the body can be fully controlled. Strength, speed, heartbeat, muscles, nerves. Different from the passive, flame resistance, divinity, the divinity of 3 flowers gathering on the top, made Mo Yun feel what a god is and what a mortal is. With this divinity, Mo Yun feels that no matter what he does in the future, he will get twice the result with half the effort. In the cave where the elements are scarce, his basic cultivation speed has increased by nearly 50%, and this improvement is perfectly superimposed with the cultivation system. The only fly in the ointment is that in places with rich elements, the increase in the speed of basic cultivation brought by breathing method is not so obvious, and the improvement effect of the crater is only half of that in the cave. While Mo Yun was savoring the changes in his body, the centaur chef came again. Time to eat. But what was surprising this time was that in addition to the usual 2 breads, there was an extra bowl of broth this time. Of course, the meat in it was pitifully small, and most of it was vegetables. Even so, this is a huge change. Mo Yun noticed that the old slaves showed a strong surprise after seeing the broth, but the reason for the surprise was not because of the broth. Finally, the holiday. An old slave whispered, "Have a holiday." Do slaves still have holidays? Mo Yun came to Bibo with broth and bread, and at the same time, Bibo, who was about to bribe him, inquired a little about the situation in the Huishan mining area. But what Mo Yun didn't expect was that Bibo didn't ask for Mo Yun's magic bread this time. "Keep your bread. Tomorrow I will go to Huishan market with Mrs. Ganti to have a big meal, and I will save my stomach until then." Having said that, Bibo still gulped down the broth, but put away the 3 pieces of magic bread. Mo Yun made some circumstantial remarks before he learned the common sense that all old slaves knew. The Huishan ore extracted from the Huishan mining area will be sent to the Huishan market once a month, and the day of delivering the ore is the holiday of the slaves. Mo Yun also accidentally learned that the ore from the Huishan market is sent to the Huishan collar of the demigod Ader once a year. The Huishan territory of the demigod Ader only conducts a large-scale transaction with other territories every 20 years. Sure enough, gods have a very different concept of time from ordinary people. 20 years is like a week to them. Mo Yun thought for a while, and then asked, "Master Bibo, is it dangerous to transport ore? You and Mr. Ganti are actually needed." When Goblin Bibo heard that Mo Yun put Ganti on the same level, he couldn't help but feel a little flustered, and couldn't help saying, "Transporting ore is of course not dangerous, but this time, Lord Ganti and I have both received awards for their long-term hard work." After a pause, the goblin Bibo said enviously, "But I am naturally inferior to Lord Gandhi." Lord Gandhi was authorized to go to Huishan territory and practice for a month with Lord Yate. What a great gift and honor. Quote, Mo Yun thought of the golden light bestowed by the Lord of Yate, and Gandhi would probably gain additional benefits by practicing with the demigod Yate. And this news brought great shock to Mo Yun. Gandhi went to practice for a month, which means that the strongest person in the mining area here will disappear for a month. Perhaps, this month is your God-sent opportunity. Master Bibo, Lord Gandhi is gone, what should we do in the mining area? Don't worry, during the month when Lord Gandhi is away, everything in the mining area will be taken care of by Lord Isobi. Exobi, the hawkman. Mo Yun suddenly understood why Bibo was so polite to him today. He didn't even want the bread he bribed. It turned out that it was because, after Gandhi was gone, the talker in the mining area became Yingran Isuobi. Bibo didn't give face to himself, but to give face to the eagle man Isuobi, who was optimistic about him. Tomorrow I will go to the Huishan market to accept the award. When I am gone, you all stay in the cave. All male slaves listen to Mo Yun. All female slaves listen to the Holy Spirit, understand yet? Understood. Sparse voices sounded from the cave. Mo Yun looked at the group of slaves. They don't look like they're going to be honest and obedient. Before dawn the next day, Bibo had already left. Although it was said to be a holiday, it was actually just a one-day shutdown, and everyone was ordered not to leave the cave. It is a pity for Mo Yun that the cultivation speed in the cave is much slower than the crater full of Huishan mines, and the shutdown does not seem to be a good thing for him. But it may be different for these slaves. They can use this day to have a good rest, play chess, chat and so on. What Mo Yun didn't expect was that the entertainment they chose was not playing chess and cards as Mo Yun thought, but beating people. The chosen ones are without exception Mo Yun himself. Mixed breed. We've been waiting a long time for this day. I've wanted to teach you a lesson for a long time. I am a great swordsman, let me be the first to beat him. I am a high-ranking knight, I should be the first. Mo Yun froze for a moment, then a mocking smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Great swordsman, high-ranking knight, I can't tell, you still have such identities. I think you are doing so well as slaves, and I thought you were all a family of slaves passed down from generation to generation. This sentence obviously angered everyone, and the slaves looked at each other and shouted. Let's go together. Teach this half-breed a lesson. Yes, let him understand who he is. These slaves didn't seem to be bragging. Before they came to the God realm, they were probably really great figures like great sword masters and high-ranking knights. Unfortunately, in the world of gods, they have all become slaves. Their original strength was useless in the face of divine power, but even though they were slaves, they had accumulated some divine power through bread and the first gift from the temple. Coupled with the original physique and martial skills, the combat power is naturally still somewhat. Mo Yun believed that if he hadn't strengthened himself, anyone here would be able to hang himself up and beat him. But after various attributes are strengthened, he does not have the divinity of the three flowers jutting himself, which is obviously different. Using the 80 times enhanced agility, Mo Yun easily dodged the siege of several people, and at the same time, using the rhythm of breathing, he punched and took a long breath at the same time. Boom! Like a boulder hitting a rock, this violent punch sent the slave known as the high-ranking knight flying away, until he hit the wall of the cave before rolling and falling. The other slaves immediately exclaimed, he may be of high-level demon blood. The devil must die, the holy light will punish you. A man who looked like a priest took out a cross from his arms, but was kicked away by Mo Yun. In fact, these people's attacks are very methodical. On the contrary, Mo Yun's fists and kicks are chaotic and chaotic. But the old saying goes, one force down 10 will. Mo Yun used dozens of times crushing strength and agility, as well as the divinity of perfectly coordinating his body, to beat these former great sword masters in all aspects. Soon, there was no one standing except him, and some male slaves who did not participate in the distance looked at Mo Yun and trembled. The warriors on the ground groaned and shouted, it's a high-level demon. We all guessed wrong, he has the blood of a high-level demon. It's scary, the hybrid offspring of the devil is too scary. Snapped. Mo Yun stepped on the chest of the person who spoke, and the person spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood, and looked at Mo Yun in horror. Mo Yun said lightly. What did you say I was just now? I said that your excellency has a noble blood. I didn't know your status, otherwise I would never dare to offend you. Mo Yun said coldly. I'm not some devil. Of course you are not. I am talking nonsense, begging the great you to let me go. Snort. Mo Yun raised his foot, considering that he still needs to lie dormant for a while. Let's save these idiots for the time being. Thank you, your excellency. Great and noble your excellency, I am grateful for your kindness, and I am in awe of your bloodline. Seeing Mo Yun let him go, this person is already a little incoherent. Mo Yun felt amused in his heart. This group of idiots have been slandering themselves all the time, saying that he is a descendant of lemurace and beasts, and even gave him the nickname of mixed blood. But when he showed his strength and was mistaken for a high-level demon, by them, they became in awe again. After all, they are just a bunch of bullying trash. Mo Yun looked to the other side of the cave. While he was having special entertainment for slave holidays, here, the entertainment projects over there were also going on. 7 or 8 female slaves in the cave were besieging Elsa, the holy elf, and their attacks were even more vicious than these men. Looking at Elsa's face that doesn't diminish her beauty despite being messy, Mo Yun couldn't help feeling. A woman's jealousy is truly terrifying. Before Elsa came to the god's realm, she seemed to have a certain strength. She persisted in the face of the siege of 7 or 8 women, but she was almost unable to hold on. Mo Yun walked over, and a brown-skinned female orc with fangs stood in front of Mo Yun and shouted. This is our woman's business, it has nothing to do with you, you'd better not meddle in my own business. Snapped. Mo Yun slapped the female orc on the face and knocked her to the ground. Mo Yun said coldly, you don't think I don't hit women, do you? He will not show mercy just because the other party is a woman. What's more, apart from the decent figure of this female orc, this face really does not conform to his aesthetics, and it is far from the standard that makes him feel sorry for her. After dealing with the female orcs blocking the way, Mo Yun stepped forward and punched these female slaves unceremoniously. After a burst of hot hands and flowers, the only female slave who was still standing was Elsa. Elsa was panting heavily. The battle just now made her hair a little messy, but she had an extra aura like a Valkyrie. She raised her head and looked at Mo Yun, but she didn't thank him at all. Who asked you to meddle in your own business? Dirty guy. Mo Yun has never been a good-tempered person, indeed, he treats the beautiful Elsa preferentially. Mo Yun admitted that it was because of his lust, because of Elsa's straight legs, slim waist and pretty chest, and that face that was always captivating, that he would help her. But this does not mean that Mo Yun will be a licking dog. Miss Elsa, is this the noble Holy Spirit's thanks to those who saved you? The holy elf doesn't need a guy of demon blood to save him. Elsa said coldly, stop being sentimental here. Mo Yun froze for a moment, and said, sooner or later, you will pay for your arrogance today. Arrogance? What do you think you are? You're nothing but a half-breed born of a demon. Mo Yun's eyes suddenly became cold. The dragon has Nilan, and the word, hybrid, is his Nilan. Mo Yun didn't know who was the first to insult himself with the word, mixed fool. But the truth is, swear words and nicknames go the fastest, especially insulting ones. Over time, these slaves like to use these 4 words to find a sense of superiority from Mo Yun. But everyone who scolded Mo Yun like this, Mo Yun remembered it in his heart. In this list, the name Elsa Windwhisper, the holy elf, did not originally exist. This is one of the things Mo Yun admires about Elsa so much. And now, her name has been added to the list. Mo Yun took a deep breath. He has the most noble Yanwang blood. He is also proud of the blood he has. No one can insult his blood. Those who insult his lineage will inevitably pay the price. Looking at Elsa, Mo Yun smiled instead of anger. You will definitely regret the 4 words you just said. Must. Elsa suddenly felt a chill, and she didn't understand where the chill came from. Afraid of Mo Yun's revenge. But how could he take revenge on himself? Even though his demon blood brought him great power, Mo Yun, who chose the system Godhead, has no future to speak of. And I will eventually obtain the honorable Fengshan Godhead, and the people in front of me, including Mo Yun, will prostrate themselves on the ground and look up to me in the future. Elsa comforted herself with beautiful visions, but she still felt uneasy in her heart. If I hadn't held my identity to thank Mo Yun just now, maybe. No, how could a noble holy elf be grateful for descendants mixed with demon blood? Back at the other end of the cave, Mo Yun saw the slave who had got up from the ground and hid in the corner, and said coldly. Those idiots just now, get out. With a sound of threats, several of them came out, but there were still a few who hesitated, as if they wanted to pretend that they were not among the people who made the move just now. Mo Yun sneered, walked to the corner, and kicked one of the people in the stomach. The person who kicked was hugging his stomach and howling. Won't my words work? Mo Yun spoke out again. This time no one dared to cheat and play tricks. He quickly stood up honestly, looked at Mo Yun in horror, waiting to be punished. Mo Yun walked in front of these people and shouted, "Kneel down." Several people froze for a moment, but seeing that Mo Yun was about to raise his hand, they quickly knelt down in a row. Mo Yun said coldly, "I'll ask you some questions and answer them honestly. Otherwise, I'll chop off your hands and throw them into the furnace." Everyone trembled in fright, secretly thinking that Mo Yun is indeed of demon blood, and the way he behaves is indeed comparable to that of demons. They hurriedly scrambled to speak, fearing that Mo Yun would cut off their hands if they said too late, "We must answer honestly. We will tell everything we know." Mo Yun swept his eyes, and there were 7 people in front of him, 3 of whom were human slaves who came with him. Mo Yun was not interested in these 3 people, and they probably didn't know as much as he did. Mo Yun was concerned about the 4 old slaves. He asked, "How long have you 4 been working here?" 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, 17 years. Mo Yun became interested in the slave who said he had worked for 17 years. He still remembered that the other person's name was Hassan, so he asked. "Hassan, I heard that if you work for 10 years, you can go to the temple to obtain the Godhead. Why did you work for 17 years? Hassan's face was a little ugly. "Twice. I didn't get the Godhead. It really is a bad luck." Mo Yun felt a little sympathetic to Hassan, but this was a very good thing for Mo Yun. Since Hassan has been working here for 17 years, Hassan must know this place well. This is exactly the person Mo Yun needs most. "Tell me everything you know about the mine." "I see." Hassan immediately poured beans into a bamboo tube and told Mo Yun everything he knew. The first thing Mo Yun asked was the geography and personnel situation of the mining area. Soon, Mo Yun learned that the mining area he was in was only one of more than a dozen mining areas controlled by Huishan Market. On this land, more than a dozen mining areas cluster Huishan Market in the center like satellites. As for the Huishan Market, it is actually a town, and the person who controls it is Els, the son of God who is more advanced than the gods. What Mo Yun didn't expect was that according to the slave, there were only 10 gods in this mining area. 7 of them are supervisors. There is also a dragon eagle driver, a cook and a dragon eagle caretaker. Reminiscent of Bibo's one supervisor managing so many of them, Mo Yun also thinks it's not unreasonable for 10 gods to control a mining area. The gap between gods with godheads and slaves without godheads is still huge. And now, Ganti, the strongest supervisor among the gods and people here, can be sure that he will leave for at least a month. This month is enough for Mo Yun to do many things. In order to ensure that Hassan was telling the truth, Mo Yun questioned several other slaves who had worked for several years. After confirming that Hassan was not lying, Mo Yun asked the slaves to kneel aside, and called Hassan aside for interrogation. Hassan was a little nervous. It was difficult for him to feel that the questions Mo Yun asked just now were purely out of curiosity. He swallowed, feeling that he vaguely guessed what Mo Yun was thinking, and this guess made him feel terrified. Mo Yun's next words seemed to confirm Hassan's conjecture. "Hassan, you have been a slave here for 17 years, don't you think about escaping?" This question made Hassan fall into the ice cave, and he stammered his answer. "I thought about it. No, I didn't." "Answer me truthfully." Under Mo Yun's cold gaze, Hassan hurriedly said, "I thought about it before, but the outside is more dangerous than the mining area, so I don't think about it anymore." More dangerous. Soon, Mo Yun asked Hassan for more information. The demigod Lord Art is actually a pioneer lord, and his territory is actually a territory opened up in the wilderness on the border of God's domain. And Huishan Market is located at the border of Huishan territory. So outside the mining area is a dangerous wasteland. Within hundreds of miles of this mining area, there is only Huishan Market, a town. For slaves without godhood, a closed mining area is much safer than a wasteland where wild gods wander. Mo Yun got a new knowledge: the wild gods. In God's domain, there will be some gods who do not obey order, and their godhead characteristics also force them to stay away from the orderly god city and even the entire God's domain. Godheads such as killing, destroying, and destroying also make these wilderness gods dangerous and wanted objects in the eyes of God's domain. These mortals who do not possess the godhood are at most as slaves in front of the god lords. If they fall into the hands of the wilderness gods, it is not known what kind of tragic result they will have. Wouldn't these wild gods attack the mining area? Mo Yun asked. Hardly. The last time the mining area was attacked by the gods of the wilderness was said to be hundreds of years ago. The mining area was well defended and there was no value in attacking it. Instead of attacking the mining area, they would rather choose to attack the town. Mo Yun nodded secretly. Indeed, apart from a few hundred slaves in this mining area, only Huishan stone is of any value. The Huishan mines in the mining area are sent to the market every month. It is better to attack the convoy transporting ore than to attack the mining area. Thinking of this, Mo Yun couldn't help asking, will the god of the wilderness attack the convoy transporting ore? It's difficult, Hassan explained. The ore is transported to the Huishan market in a dragon eagle cart. The wilderness gods near the Huishan territory are all god level, and it is difficult for them to attack the dragon eagle cart. Dragon eagle carts are used to haul so many ores. Mo Yun was a little surprised. Hassan quickly explained. The dragon eagle driver in the mining area possesses the godhead of cargo. He has two abilities: one is to expand the interior space of the car cabin by 10 times, and the other is to reduce the weight of the cargo 10 times. Mo Yun couldn't help but be amazed. He really has all kinds of godheads. Hassan looked at Mo Yun carefully, and added, this mining area is completely closed, and the only way for slaves to get out is to ride the dragon eagle. But the dragon eagle is in the hands of the watchman Marvin. Without the key, no one can leave here. Mo Yun glanced at Hassan. The news you said is very useful. I still have a question to ask you. Just ask. How strong are these gods and people in the mining area? Hassan was stunned for a moment, and quickly said, the strength of the gods is definitely not comparable to that of our slaves. Even the goblin Bibo can easily kill all the slaves in this cave. Just answer honestly. Seeing the anger in Mo Yun's tone, Hassan hastily said, the strongest must be Lord Ganti. He has at least 100 years of supernatural power. I already know this. What I want to know is the strength of the rest of the people except Lord Ganti. The one who is second only to Ganti should be Master Isobi. He has worked in the mining area for 20 years and has at least 40 years of divine power. Only 40 years. Mo Yun was a little surprised. From 100 years directly down to 40 years, this span made Mo Yun suspicious. The work in the mining area is very dangerous. After the volcano is blocked, it will erupt and the boiler will sometimes explode. The gods and people don't like this kind of work, so once they save enough money, they will change to other jobs. Hassan's explanation barely convinced Mo Yun. At least 40 years of supernatural powers overseer Isobi. Out of conservative considerations, Mo Yun defaulted to Isobi's 60-year divine power. First of all, we can know that Isobi's 3 abilities must have been awakened, but Hassan doesn't know what the abilities are. It's not clear whether Isobi has divinity. Judging from the goblin Bibo's tone, divinity should be extremely difficult to obtain. Bibo, who has 8 years of divine power, has not even touched the edge of divinity. Therefore, Mo Yun is more inclined to Isuo than even if he has divinity, there will not be more than one. However, even though Mo Yun has 2 divinities now, his divine power is still far behind Isobi, but the good news is that as long as he is given a few more days, his cultivation value can reach 10 years. The system of the third Godhead crystal should not disappoint him. Mo Yun, my lord, let alone 40 years of divine power, even 1 year of divine power is very powerful for us slaves. Hassan reminded Mo Yun in a tactful tone. Mo Yun suddenly found it very funny. Hassan, who wanted to teach himself a lesson not long ago, is now thinking of himself so hard that he almost has the word, please, written all over his face. Mo Yun said indifferently, what do you think I want to do? Do you think that I don't know the heights of heaven and earth and want to challenge Lord Isuobi? Let me tell you, Lord Isuobi appreciates me very much. Hassan was stunned for a moment, thinking to himself that he was wrong, and quickly said, I'm sorry Lord Mo Yun, I'm just thinking wildly. Your words are useful, and I will reward you with this half piece of bread. Mo Yun took out 2 wrapped pieces of bread. Yesterday, Bibo didn't accept his bribe, so he didn't eat it at all. After all, the 0.1 days divine power didn't matter to him at all. Thank you, Master Mo Yun. Thank you, Master Mo Yun. Hassan happily took half of the bread, and looked at Mo Yun respectfully. Half a loaf of bread was rewarded to Hassan, and Mo Yun had already figured out what to do with the remaining loaf and a half loaf. You guys come here. Several kneeling slaves quickly came to Mo Yun. I heard that some of you are great sword masters and senior knights. Don't dare. Several slaves shook their heads quickly. What are you afraid of? Mo Yun shouted coldly, and the slaves were instantly dumb. Seeing this, Mo Yun said indifferently, I just want to learn something from you. Since you are great sword masters and high-level knights, you should have a lot of martial arts skills, right? Mo Yun's plan is to find new martial arts training from these former great sword masters and senior knights. He also needs at least 1 divinity for the combat function. Mo Yun always maintains self-knowledge. He knew that although he beat these slaves as if they were children, in terms of martial arts attainments, he was actually a primary school student, no, kindergarten level. It's okay to bully the opponent with his super high attributes, but if he really wants to use it alone, it's a joke. The real strong don't mind learning from the defeated ones. Several people couldn't help but have strange expressions when they heard that Mo Yun was going to learn martial arts from them. Indeed, as far as they are concerned, Mo Yun's few tricks are simply children's fighting methods. They were beaten by Mo Yun, how dare they teach Mo Yun? I asked you to teach. Don't you hear? Mo Yun's face turned cold, and the few people immediately lost any hesitation, and hurriedly said, Master Mo Yun, we will definitely entrust you with the best martial arts, and we will never keep them private. Mo Yun sneered and looked at the slaves who called him mixed breed, not long ago but now, Master Mo Yun, pointing to one of them. Come one by one, starting with you. You said you were a great swordsman, right? Don't dare, how dare I call myself a great swordsman in front of you? I have only practiced swords for a few days. The slave of the great swordsman came out. He found a stone furnace from the cave, and said to Mo Yun, I am best at court stunts, flying crow swordsmanship. As he said that, the slave of the great sword master danced the stove, and explained while dancing, this sword technique is combined with fighting spirit, well, I think it can also be combined with divine power, it can make dazzling flying crows, making the enemy blind. Quote. Mo Yun looked at it for a while, then couldn't help but said, Enough. The slave of the great sword master quickly stopped and looked at Mo Yun anxiously. Mo Yun shook his head secretly, what kind of flying crow swordsmanship, gimmicky. Perhaps this sword technique is really powerful in the mortal world, but in the world of gods, it is simply ridiculous. Mo Yun doesn't expect to learn anything from this. Are you guys the same as him? Mo Yun looked at the other people, who all looked timid. Mo Yun suddenly realized that he shouldn't ask such a question, even if they were different from the slaves of the great sword master, they didn't dare to show their heads at this time. After resting his chin in thought for a moment, Mo Yun had a flash of inspiration. Mo Yun said to the slave of the great sword master, Since you are a great sword master, you should be very good at swinging a sword, right? Swinging a sword. This is the most basic thing. Okay, just teach me how to swing a sword. A group of people looked at Mo Yun with suspicious eyes. Mo Yun, who beat them up just now, wants to learn martial arts from them, and he also learns the most basic sword swing. However, it seems that there is no problem in laying a good foundation for a high-rise building to rise from the ground. Well, let me demonstrate it to you first. The slave of the great swordsman held the furnace and swung it like a sword. His status as a great swordsman is not fake. This sword is swung smoothly and just right. Although it looks ordinary, but after careful taste, it feels perfect. Mo Yun went through the great sword master's hard work in his mind, and also found a furnace. I'll try. At this time, the slaves discovered that it was indeed necessary for Mo Yun to practice from the basics, because the sword swing was really bad. It's not like this. The slave of the great sword master hesitated whether to touch Mo Yun. It's okay, just teach me. The slave of the great swordsman had no choice but to pretend to be brave, correct Mo Yun's movements, and use himself as a comparison to tell Mo Yun the relevant details. Mo Yun remembered the other party's words in his mind bit by bit, and began to adjust his movements. One sword, another sword. Although the initial sword was very substandard, Mo Yun's progress can be described as fast. Soon, the slave of the great sword master discovered that Mo Yun's standard level of swinging the sword had caught up to himself. What a terrible ability to learn. The hearts of the slaves were shocked. However, they attributed Mo Yun's terrible learning ability to Mo Yun's bloodline. In their view, Mo Yun's bloodline is probably a fairly high-level demon, and may even be a demon at the level of a demon king. But only Mo Yun knew that the reason why he learned so quickly was because of his divinity. The perfect coordination ability allows him to control every part of his body, and every breath perfectly corresponds to every beat of the body. With the divinity of 3 flowers gathering at the top, no matter what, he can learn quickly. Ding! It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 15 times the strengthening of swordsmanship. Good. Mo Yun cheered secretly in his heart, and the chimney in his hand fell down. Although the chimney was not a sword, after falling, there was a slight sound in the air. Buzz! The slave of the great swordsman watched this scene in astonishment. What a genius! He felt that he had lived to the dog before. In less than half an hour, he watched Mo Yun swing his sword again and again. Each sword was more accurate than the other, and in the end a mutation occurred, and his level directly left himself behind. If he hadn't watched Mo Yun grow from a novice with his own eyes, he even suspected that Mo Yun was a sword master in the first place. Stop practicing, Mo Yun said lightly. The slave of the great sword master was stunned for a moment, and quickly said, "Why don't you practice anymore? Your talent is enough to become a sword god." "I said I won't practice if I don't practice. Do you have any opinions?" Mo Yun's cold eyes made the slave of the great sword master wake up, realize the current situation, and dare not have any objections. Mo Yun continued, "Besides swords, do you have any other weapons you are good at?" The great swordsman hesitated for a moment, and replied, "I'm also good at knives, as well as war hammers and hatchets." "Okay, use this furnace to teach me to swing a knife." Another half an hour later, the crisp system sound sounded again. Ding! It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 12 times the enhancement of sword skills. The slave of the great swordsman was completely dazed, looking at Mo Yun as if he were looking at a monster. In just half an hour, his saber skills are also mastered. Both male and female slaves in the cave watched Mo Yun learn basic martial arts. At first they thought it was just a monkey show. I feel that with Mo Yun's strength, learning martial arts is simply ridiculous, and Mo Yun is probably playing with a few slaves. After reading on, they realized that Mo Yun's martial arts skills were indeed poor, and what he relied on seemed to be only the power of blood, and it seemed that it was indeed necessary to learn martial arts skills. But after watching it again, everyone felt that their worldview had been subverted. How could someone have such an outrageous talent? Elsa sat in the corner watching Mo Yun, and the feeling of uneasiness became stronger again. But she quickly suppressed this feeling. Although Mo Yun's talent is outstanding, Elsa still thinks Mo Yun's choice is stupid. If it was her, she would specialize in one weapon and practice well. It's not like what Mo Yun is doing now, only practicing one weapon for half an hour, and can't wait to switch to another one. This behavior is really stupid. It's as stupid as his choice of system Godhead. The blood of the devil is indeed a fool with talent for force but no brains. Of course Mo Yun knew that specializing in a weapon could elevate a martial skill to a higher level. But that meant nothing to Mo Yun. Because for every martial skill training, the frequency of triggering of the strengthening system is lower as you go to the end. It only takes half an hour to train the strengthening system of martial arts for the first time, it may take 2 hours for the second trigger, and 8 hours or more for the third trigger. And the time he can learn these martial arts is only 1 day. After all, he definitely can't practice martial arts in front of the supervisor. Therefore, Mo Yun took advantage of the fact that it is relatively easy to trigger the strengthening system for the first time, and learned all the basic martial arts that can be learned, and then selected martial arts that can be trained in daily situations according to the situation. Then, strengthen it out of divinity. Ding. It is detected that the host has undergone special training and has received 11 times the Warhammer enhancement. Ding. It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 15 times the spear skill enhancement. Ding. It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and it has been strengthened by 12 times the battle axe. Ding. Maybe it's been too long. The slaves in the cave have become numb. It took them a day to witness the transformation of a novice into a master of all weapons. But this is the world of the gods, and anything can happen. The slaves comforted themselves so much in their hearts, looking forward to the adventures that would come to them one day. Mo Yun glanced at several slaves. All of them were out of breath, and seemed to have been drained of all their martial skills by Mo Yun. On the other hand, Mo Yun, under the stamina strengthened by dozens of times, did not show a little fatigue. Mo Yun took out the remaining piece and a half of bread, handed it to them, and said, "This is a reward for you, share it and eat." The slaves froze for a moment, quickly took the bread, and thankfully returned to the corner of the cave. Mo Yun continued to meditate cross-legged, silently waiting for the arrival of tomorrow. In the early morning of the next day, Bibo returned, and the work in the mining area resumed. Mo Yun, who returned to the crater again, felt a little regretful looking at the empty mountain pass. The Huishan mine had been sent to the Huishan market. After the Huishan stone was gone, the speed of cultivation here dropped a lot. However, a new batch of raw ore has been hauled up by slave miners. Mo Yun was not in a hurry to help carry the raw ore, but meditated. Among so many martial arts, those that can be hidden in daily training without being discovered can also come in handy. The corner of Mo Yun's mouth twitched slightly, and he walked to the tool for salvaging the impurities in Huishan Pass. The tools for salvaging impurities look like a big spoon, but they are at least made of special materials, unlike the tools in the boiler cave that are all made of stone. Soon, Mo Yun modified his new fishing tool. New tool. This is like a spear gun, with a string added to the end of the long shaft. The head was changed into a colander-like shape by Mo Yun, with a little weight added to the top. Mo Yun threw the new tool into the magma, then pulled out the whole fishing tool with a flick of the rope, and the impurities fell into the colander and were carried to the crater. If it is immortal, such a tool is absolutely impossible to operate. Perhaps only dozens of times the agility enhancement, coupled with Sanhua Juding's perfect control of the body, can Mo Yun control this new tool like a command. Soon, the big slaves also came here, and the work of the crater officially started. After being briefly curious about Mo Yun's new tool, the big slaves didn't go any further. The relationship between the two sides is still as hostile as ever. After working for several hours, a black figure descended from the sky. It was Eagle Overseer Isobe. "What is this?" Isobe looked at Mo Yun's new tool curiously. "My lord, this is my improved fishing tool. I think this is more suitable for me. It can fish out twice as many impurities as before. This can improve the efficiency of ore refining and reduce the risk of volcano clogging." Mo Yun demonstrated the new tool while talking. Isobe observed it, and found that it had indeed fished out twice as much impurities as before. In addition, Mo Yun's movements became more skillful, and the overall efficiency was even 3 times that of before. Isobe couldn't help but praised. "Yes, I did not misunderstand you. You are simply a natural-born excellent slave. Thank you for the compliment, Master Isobe. I will work harder in the future." Mo Yun looked at Isobe flying into the sky respectfully, and smiled coldly in his heart. "You read me right, hee. There are too many things you are wrong about." Mo Yun threw the new tool in his hand into the magma again. At this time, the sound of the system sounded. Ding. It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 17 times the throwing enhancement. Ding. It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has received 11 times the throwing enhancement. Ding. It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 13 times the throwing enhancement. Ding. 5 days passed in a flash. Mo Yun's throwing enhancement has reached 187 times, and now his movements with the new tool have become more proficient, and every throw can be perfectly integrated with the rhythm of the breathing method. However, this kind of progress made Mo Yun quite disappointed. The frequency of strengthening triggers is indeed lower as you go to the back. On the first day, he had already reduced the throwing enhancement by 90 times, and in the next 4 days, he had already strengthened it by a total of 97 times. Mo Yun noticed that the needs of different divinities are different. The pure passive, flame resistance, divinity is the lowest, and it will appear when it is strengthened to 160 times. The divinity requirement of 3 flowers gathering on the top is very high, and it does not appear until 360 times. Considering that the difficulty of strengthening increases gradually, the value of the 3-flower gathering is at least 10 times that of the flame resistance. Mo Yun has a hunch that the divinity of throwing will appear when it is strengthened to between 220 and 240 times. The value of this divinity should be between flame resistance and 3-flower gathering. However, whether it is flame resistance or the gathering of 3 flowers, they all have the same advantage, that is, they can always be in the state of cultivation. Fire resistance only needs to stay on the edge of the crater. The gathering of 3 flowers at the top is even more amazing. As long as you control the breathing method all the time and even make it an instinct, you can fall asleep and be in the state of cultivation. In contrast, martial arts that require constant training do not have such a convenient feature. As Mo Yun's movements become more and more skilled, the ore impurities floating in the crater are not even enough for him to salvage, so that Mo Yun is now idle for half of the time every day. The divine progress of throwing martial arts has also been slowed down a lot for no reason. According to this progress, Mo Yun feels that it will take at least 3 days before he can acquire the divinity of the throwing martial skill. However, the east side is not bright and the west side is bright, and the divinity of throwing is delayed, but the practice value has improved rapidly. Because the impurities were salvaged too clean, Mo Yun had enough time to rest. He prepared a sofa for himself. The cushion of the sofa is a huge Huishan stone, and there is an even bigger Huishan stone behind it. Mo Yun sitting on it, because of the huge area of contact with Huishan stone, and after the gathering of 3 flowers on the top, the speed of practice near the crater has increased by nearly 25%. When he was sitting on the sofa, his practice speed had reached an astonishing level. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 10.3 days, the cultivation system multiplier is 40 times, and the cultivation speed in the current environment is 412 days. In Mo Yun's opinion, the practice value that would have reached 10 years later has already reached 9 years and 8 months. In other words, today, he can light up the 3rd crystal of divine spark. I hope the 3rd crystal will not disappoint me. Mo Yun secretly said in his heart that he is ready for everything now, and only owes the 3rd crystal's system and divinity. A few hours passed like this, and Mo Yun noticed a change in the Godhead. Mo Yun checked it quickly, and a faint light, like the light that appeared in the sky at dawn, was slowly lit up on the 3rd crystal. Mo Yun was very excited, and after a few breaths, he quickly calmed down again. After thinking calmly for a while, Mo Yun said to the system Godhead, "Godhead, I want a system that can change my life against the sky." The Godhead lightened up slightly, then became a little dim again, twinkling like distant stars in the sky. Mo Yun waited patiently. This time the system appeared for an extra long time. It seemed that he had created a problem for his Godhead, but the more this happened, the more Mo Yun felt that he was doing the right thing. Something of real value always comes out at the finale. Ding! Congratulations to the host for getting the 10 times critical strike system. The 10 times critical strike system is triggered randomly. The host can check the system-related information. 10 times critical strike system. System-related. Whether it is the cultivation system or the enhancement system, there is no such thing as a system-related thing. Mo Yun checked it curiously. But after reading the system-related explanation, Mo Yun became even more confused. The system only explains that the critical strike system will be triggered randomly in some situations where a critical strike is possible. After being triggered once, the critical strike probability will drop to a very low level, but as time goes by, the probability will become higher and higher. After the next critical strike, the probability is reduced to very low again. This system feels to Mo Yun like a card draw in a mobile game. Since it is a card draw, is there a big guarantee? As if confirming Mo Yun's conjecture, at the end of the system related, it reads, The critical strike system can be actively used once every 7 days. Single quote. If you can take the initiative to use it once, then it's okay. But the time interval is a bit long, once every 7 days. From this point of view, it seems that the probability of a critical strike is not very high. If you think about it carefully, this is indeed a system that can change your life against the sky. 10 times critical strike, as long as it explodes, you will be invincible. If it doesn't explode, it's more or less meaningless. Mo Yun still has another doubt, that is, the system does not say, what is a critical strike, he seems to have to test it first. With the refining of Huishan stone, the impurities in the crater increased. Mo Yun clapped his hands and continued to work. With the crit system, now the godliness of the main battle is missing. Throwing the tool into the magma, suddenly, a mysterious feeling came to Mo Yun's heart. Trigger strengthened. Wrong. Not only that, the crit system is out. Shipped as soon as it was released. Mo Yun didn't expect to be so lucky. But come to think of it, coming to the God realm and obtaining the system Godhead, I seem to be considered the child of luck. Mo Yun can't wait for the system prompt to appear. The first thing is to strengthen the system. Ding. It is detected that the host has undergone special training, and has obtained 13 times the throwing enhancement. What followed was a prompt from the crit system. Ding. You have triggered the 10-fold crit system. The reinforcement multiplier is 11 times, and an additional 130 times the throwing reinforcement. Grass. It really is a system that changes fate against the sky. Mo Yun violently swears in his heart excitedly. The throwing enhancement brought by the critical strike this time is based on the fact that he has already strengthened the throwing by 187 times. He might not be able to get the extra 130 times throwing enhancement this time with 10 days of non-stop training. At this moment, Mo Yun's throwing skill has been strengthened by an astonishing 330 times. Ding! Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the first level divinity, Blazing Spear. Mo Yun stretched out his hand to grab the fishing tool. At this time, this ordinary pole gave Mo Yun a completely different feeling, as if holding it, it was like holding a dragon with a whole body of fire. At this moment, a word rang in Mo Yun's heart. A spear in hand. I have the world. At this moment, the rhinoceros man in the distance started yelling and cursing at Mo Yun. Hey, mixed fool, don't you see more impurities? Because Mo Yun stopped the salvage action, some impurities accumulated in the crater. This is actually the most common thing. In the past, even salvage to this extent was considered excellent. But recently, what Mo Yun salvaged was too clean, so these big slaves seized this rare weakness, and took the opportunity to yell at Mo Yun. Boy, don't think that you can challenge us just because Master SOB has praised you a few words. Here, you are the cheapest one. Do your job well, half-breed. This is the only place you have value. If you can't even do this job well, you will be thrown into a volcano and burned to death. Even if Master SOB is here, we will scold you. Are you blind and don't see so many impurities that need to be cleaned? Mo Yun let out a long breath, and looked coldly at these big guys who were getting more and more scolding. The cold gaze made several big men feel a chill, but they were not afraid, and on the contrary regarded it as a kind of provocation. Why, are you not convinced? Rhino patted his fist and said arrogantly, you should be glad you didn't live with me, the strong Austin, otherwise, I would have beaten you to death mushed meat. Little fool, have you seen our muscles? You alone dare to look at us like this. What, I can't bear it anymore. If you want to fight us, come on. On the contrary, the big slaves clamored even more fiercely. If it weren't for the dread eagle overseer Suobi, they would probably have murdered Mo Yun long ago. However, if Mo Yun made the first move, it shouldn't be too much for them to fight back. Even Osobi can't execute slaves for nothing, as long as they are reasonable. Mo Yun sneered and stepped on the head of the fishing tool. Now, the long pole with the sharp end is broken, and it is completely transformed into a spear. The big slaves laughed instead. Ha ha ha, you idiot, you actually broke the tool. You have to get at least 5 lashes, no, 10 lashes. Look, the half-breed is coming. He doesn't really want to fight us, does he? I laughed so hard, just rely on him, a half-breed. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Rhino stood up. Those who participated in the fight would be whipped, so the rest of the big slaves did not stand up after clamoring for a long time. But the rhinoceros is an extremely violent and belongs to the kind of race that can't control their impulses at all, so Austin the rhinoceros often fights and is often whipped. Perhaps it is precisely because of this that the rhinoceros race is ridiculously thick-skinned, and their natural endurance and willpower are also quite amazing. Other races may suffer from severe pain after being whipped, but the rhinoceros can often stay silent, and even endure as long as they don't die. This is where they are most powerful. Mixed breed boy, come on, I'll let you make the first move. Austin stood in front of Mo Yun and said arrogantly. He thought he was very smart. As long as Mo Yun made the first move, wouldn't he be able to avoid being whipped? Maybe he is the smartest rhinoceros. Ah, Mo Yun chuckled. 3 flowers gathered on the top plus the divinity of the blazing spear. Strength, agility, endurance, perception, etc. are about 100 times stronger. Plus 10 years of divine power and 10 times critical strike system. All of this should be enough. Puff, a flame ignited on the spear, and it pierced straight into the rhino's heart. The rhino's body froze for a moment. He was still waiting for Mo Yun to strike back, but he found that his body had no strength. A burning sensation from the inside out made him speechless in pain. To tell you the truth, I have been waiting for a long time for the day I want to kill you. Mo Yun drew out his spear, Rhino faced his back to the ground, and the big slaves were in an uproar. He killed Austin. How could that kind of spear pierce the skin of a rhinoceros? Mo Yun turned his head, wiped the blood from his face, and smiled at everyone. I'm not the only one who wants to kill him. What are you going to do? Facing Mo Yun, who was countless smaller than them, a group of big guys felt a strong fear at this moment. Are you scared? Hey, didn't you have a good time scolding just now? Chapter 21. Austin the Rhino. The highest ranking of the crater's massive slaves was also the most hostile to himself. Every time, he was the first to take the lead in making trouble for himself, or insulting himself. Killed. Mo Yun crossed the first name off the death list in his mind. He looked at the rhino's body coldly, and felt that this way of death was too gentle for the rhino's Austin. However, considering that the rhinoceros is a species with rough skin and thick flesh, it seems that it doesn't matter how they die. So, the next thing is, Mo Yun wiped off the blood stains on his face, and walked towards the remaining people with the blood-stained spear. A great psychological shock arose in the hearts of several big slaves. They couldn't believe that Mo Yun, who was considered petite in their eyes, had easily pierced Austin's body with a spear. What is frightening is that Mo Yun is walking towards them. Yes, I'm sorry, Mo Yun, Master Mo Yun, I was wrong. I apologize to you, I beg your forgiveness, humble. I am blind, it is I who offended the noble you. Great and benevolent Master Mo Yun, I beg you to spare the humble me. Your noble weapon should not be wasted on me, a waste. I don't know who begged for mercy first, but the rest of the big slaves also began to beg for mercy when they saw this. These tall slaves do not seem to be as heroic as they appear. And Mo Yun is not as kind as he appears on the surface. I don't like talking nonsense. Mo Yun said calmly, I don't like to be tricky either. To tell you the truth, today, you all have to die. Everyone was stunned. Mo Yun took a step forward and came to the bear man who begged for mercy the most. Kushik the bear man, the one with the best brain among the big slaves, is also the one with the most vicious mouth. Every time it finds new ways to insult itself, the viciousness of its words even makes Mo Yun's breathing out of rhythm. The spear in Mo Yun's hand pierced through the head of the bear man who talked the most. He no longer has the opportunity to display his eloquence. Kushk, killed. Mo Yun crossed the second name off the death list in his head. Seeing Kushik's tragic death, all the slaves trembled and stretched to the extreme. Seeing Mo Yun, who continued to walk like a malevolent star, they shouted like a man. Fight with him. I don't believe how strong a mixed race can be. The elephant man charged first, throwing his huge trunk at Mo Yun. The spear in Mo Yun's hand ignited flames, and pierced the elephant man's big nose straight. With a scream, Mo Yun walked to the side of the elephant man's body, and with 100 times the strength, he kicked the elephant man kicked down the crater. Bobby the elephant man, the second highest of the massive slaves, an accomplice of Austin the rhino. It is also the person who most likes to call Mo Yun by the word, mongrel. With a miserable howl, Bobby the elephant fell into the rolling magma. Baby the elephant man, killed. Mo Yun crossed out the third name, and walked towards the remaining overwhelmed slaves with a chilling smile. Lord Isobe, save me. A miserable cry for help stopped abruptly, and the hobgoblin knelt on the ground, looking up at the sky like a statue. And the figure that fell from the sky, seeing the terrifying scene at the crater, showed a surprised and very angry expression. Sob stared at Mo Yun holding a bloody spear. It was hard for him to believe that the weak Mo Yun had slaughtered a group of giants, but it was true. What have you done? Sob yelled angrily. Are you blind? You can't even see it. Isuobi was furious, and he yelled coldly, you arrogant half-breed, a low-bred slave who is not even as good as rabbit shit, how dare you talk to me like this? You are looking for death. Like a goshawk cutting through the sky to prey on its prey, Isuobi descended from the sky, leaving several afterimages of his body so fast. Mo Yun narrowed his eyes. This is probably one of the abilities of Sob's Godhead crystal. With sharp and cold claws and extreme speed, if you can't dodge it in time, you must be a dead end. However, Mo Yun's breathing is still steady. He had long guessed that Sob's ability should be related to the characteristics of Yingmen, and Mo Yun believed that the current self was enough to deal with it. 80 times the perception, more than 100 times more agile. And, the keen insight brought by the divinity of the three flowers gathering. See clearly. Mo Yun quickly adjusted his position, and at the same time stabbed fiercely with the fiery spear in his hand. Shua. Sob flapped his wings and paused in the air. He realized that if he really jumped up, he would be the one who was pierced by the spear first. This ordinary spear is only made of the cheapest high-temperature resistant material, and it is too crude to be used as a weapon. However, in the hands of Mo Yun, Isuobi felt an extremely powerful threat. It seemed that some law-like power strengthened this most common spear. Isuobi suddenly thought of a possibility. Could it be said to be divinity? No, it's impossible. Wisdom is as powerful as his, Isobi, and he has not yet comprehended divinity. How can a mere stupid slave possess divinity? He must possess some other power, such as selling his soul to the demon god. Sob vibrated his wings and used his second ability. The feathers that popped out from his wings turned into a clone exactly like Isobi. In a split second, Mo Yun was surrounded by 11 Sobs. Facing 11 me. Do you think you still have room to resist? 11 Asopis spoke at the same time, and they spoke in unison, seeming to split into a complete 11 people, and they surrounded Mo Yun, like goshawks circling their prey. Mo Yun smiled. Isobi, it seems that I overestimated you. What did you say? 11 Isobis were furious at the same time, and then they attacked Mo Yun together. Mo Yun showed a contemptuous smile. All the 10 clones of Isuobi exist physically, but the power of the avatars is only less than 1/10 of the power of Isuobi's body. If it were someone else, they would naturally not be able to see the difference between Sopi's body and the main body, but Mo Yun could easily tell the difference. Under the divinity of three flowers gathered on the top, Mo Yun's heart is extremely calm, like the water surface of an ancient well without waves. And under the combined effect of 80 times perception, all the surrounding fluctuations are clearly visible like ripples on the water surface. There are big ripples around Sobi's real body, and the clone has only small ripples. The spear in Mo Yun's hand ignited with flames, and with a sudden sweep, knocked out a clone. Isuobi left Mo Yun behind to himself, and couldn't help sneering in his heart. Although Mo Yun's mouth was very arrogant, he was still bewitched by his avatar. But Isuobi was not too happy. Just when his claws were aimed at Mo Yun's head, Mo Yun suddenly turned over, and the blazing spear in his hand pierced Isuobi's body straight. Back to the carbine. Hey! Blood sprayed from Isuobi's shoulder, and Isuobi was so frightened that he even forgot to control his avatar and became invisible. He still didn't understand that everything just now was a trap. Mo Yun discovered his real body, but deliberately left the back to himself, and then used this human martial skill to catch himself by surprise. When Mo Yun was practicing throwing, his spear skills also got some improvement by accident. Now his spear skills are about 60 times stronger. This time, Mo Yun had watched the performance on TV and thought it was quite amazing and left a deep impression on him. At this time, with the help of Sanhua Juding's divinity, it was successfully used. The only fly in the ointment is that the accuracy has not been practiced, and it is almost meaningless. Mo Yun shook his head at Isuobi. I really think too highly of you, Isobi. Isuobi is weaker than Mo Yun expected in all aspects, and Isuobi's accumulated supernatural power has definitely not exceeded 50 years. As for the abilities of the 3 crystals of Godhead, the first pounce from the sky is indeed not weak, and it is probably the ability of Isuobi's first divine crystal. But to deal with him, it's still not good enough. As for the ability of Doppelganger, in Mo Yun's view, it is a joke. The 10 useless avatars, which can be broken with a poke, are nothing but decorations other than what they look like. I don't know whether this ability appeared randomly or because of Isuobi's choice. If it is a choice, then Isuobi is too stupid. However, Mo Yun's desire to kill Isobi with 60 times the gun skills is also a bit unrealistic. After all, Isobi is a hawkman, and a hawkman with a specialization in dexterity. Seeing that the situation was not right, Isobi flapped his wings violently. His 2 wings were like steel wings, and his whole body flew into the sky like a rising rocket, even faster than the speed he swooped down from the sky just now. Be quick. Mo Yun raised his head and stared at Isuobi's figure coldly. If there is no mistake, this should be the ability of the last Godhead crystal of Isobi. I have to admit, at least in terms of the ability of the last Godhead crystal, Isobi is indeed very good. The ability to escape with specialization in speed. Indeed, only by surviving first can you be qualified to talk about other things. Mo Yun sighed. If possible, he actually wants to keep the chance of active critical strike once every 7 days, and use it in other places that can permanently improve his strength, rather than as a one-time prop. But now, it has to be used. Mo Yun changed the posture of holding the spear, and raised the spear in his hand. The flame burned from Mo Yun's palm, and the thick fire wrapped the entire spear in it. Fire spear. Explode. Ding. You actively triggered the 10-fold crit system, and the attack multiplier is 15 times. The raging fire spear flew out of Mo Yun's hand like a phoenix flying high. It was 10 times faster than Isuobi, and it chased Isuobi almost instantly. The intense burning sensation made Isuobi turn around, and he only saw the splendor of a phoenix spreading its wings. This is impossible. The flaming spear engulfed Isobi in an instant, and the spear in Isobi turned into ashes after the flames burned out. A blow that has been strengthened by 15 times. So strong. Mo Yun marveled secretly. Perhaps the only shortcoming was that the spears were too useless, and he even forged a few more spears as spares. The smoke and dust in the crater cleared. Only a piece of falling eagle feathers proved what happened just now. Mo Yun took eagle feather and felt a sense of relief. Mo Yun has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Those who work hard, live up to the heavens, and taste their courage, 3,000 Yujia can swallow Wu. Eagle Overseer Isobi. Killed. But it's still too early to tell the end. Mo Yun still has a lot to do. After breaking off spare tools and making a few spears, Mo Yun walked down the crater. The scene of Isuobi's death just now will definitely attract some people's attention. His movements are about to speed up. This is the first time Mo Yun has real freedom since he arrived in the God realm. This is also his first comprehensive observation of the mining area. Only then did Mo Yun realize that the topography of the mining area is almost impossible to be formed naturally. The mining area is built on the top of the volcano. It is neither big nor small, but the terrain is very abnormal. Needless to say, it is rare for a flat land to suddenly appear among such steep peaks in nature, especially the surrounding peaks also form a natural barrier for the mining area. It's no wonder that Hassan said that the mining area with only 10 gods is heavily guarded. If Mo Yun guessed correctly, the mining area should be a platform built with divine power. In addition to being easy to defend and difficult to attack, this platform is also a natural cage. Not to mention slaves without godheads, even if they are gods, the way to escape here seems to be to jump off the cliff. In this way, Mo Yun feels that his actions are more critical. In the southernmost part of the mining area, a rare non-cave building was erected here. This is not only the station of the mining area, but also houses the dragon eagle responsible for transportation. A slender elf with green hair was looking out of the skylight. He just saw the flickering fireworks in the sky. Although he has the keen eyesight of the elves, he still can only see a vague outline. But he felt that the fireworks were related to the mine. Suddenly there was a sound outside the door, and the green-haired elf turned around and stared at the figure that appeared at the door. With black hair and black pupils, his appearance is considered handsome by elf standards. He was dressed in strange mortal clothes that were already a bit tattered, and he carried a few crudely made javelins or spears behind his back. The mining area is not big, and almost everyone will know about something new soon. He recognized Mo Yun and felt strong disgust at the same time. Elves have always hated demons. The green-haired elf said coldly, "Are you that slave with the demon blood hybrid? This is not the place for you to come, get out immediately." Mo Yun smiled coldly. "You should be Marvin, I'm here to tell you two things. First, I'm not a demon. I don't have demon blood either. Second, I will give you two choices, either kneel down and surrender. Or, die." Marvin couldn't believe the words he heard from a slave until he saw Mo Yun take out a spear, and the flames ignited on the spear again. "The fire in the sky outside just now has something to do with you." Mo Yun didn't intend to talk nonsense with Marvin, and threw the spear behind him directly. Blazing spear. Go. The blazing spear was like a fiery snake with its bloody mouth wide open, making Marvin short of breath. As a forest elf, he had a natural resistance to flames. "The door in chains." Marvin snorted, and a silver-gray gate with many chains appeared in front of him, colliding with the thrown blazing spear. With a sound of clang, all the iron chains on the door broke, and the door disappeared. Marvin gasped heavily and looked at Mo Yun with disbelief. "This is the power of your Godhead crystal. Aren't you a system Godhead that cannot be cultivated?" Naturally, Mo Yun would not explain it to Marvin. He took out the second spear and said calmly, "Is this the power of your doorlock Godhead? I didn't use my full strength just now, so I'll ask you again. Kneel down and surrender, or die." Marvin showed a disdainful expression, and said with a smile, "Stop pretending to be a tiger, you should have reached your limit just now. Let me, a forest elf, submit to you, a half-breed demon, and stop daydreaming." Mo Yun's eyes became colder and colder. "I repeat, I am not a demon. I have no demon blood either. Remember this last sentence you heard in your life." Blazing spear. The second fiery spear pierced the sky like a ferocious three-headed dragon. Marvin looked at this scene in surprise, and quickly summoned a huge chain door. But with a bang, the chained Nagato exploded instantly, and the fiery spear passed through Marvin's body, flying him for a certain distance, and finally nailed it firmly to the gate with the huge lock behind him. Ma Wen spat out blood, and looked at Mo Yun with a distorted expression. It turned out that what Mo Yun said did not try his best, but it turned out to be true. With the fall of Marvin, the dragon eagles in the animal pen wailed for their owners. But after Mo Yun looked at the group of dragon eagles with devouring eyes, they immediately became as quiet as domestic chickens and ducks. Ding! A crisp sound sounded, and a huge key slipped from Marvin's body and fell to the ground. Mo Yun walked over and picked up the key. The door nailed to Marvin was made by a god with the corresponding Godhead, and the door lock on it came from Marvin who possessed the door lock Godhead. This also means that from now on, except for the key Mo Yun, everyone in this mining area will not be able to leave here through the Dragon Eagle. This isolated island prison built for slaves will also become the prison of the remaining gods. At this moment, Mo Yun sensed movement outside. The other gods and people in the mining area finally responded, and they came neither too fast nor too slowly. Then, several gods rushed in together. Except Ganti and the coachman who left, the goblin Bibo and the centaur chef who were always working in the cave, and the dead Isobi. The remaining 5 supervisors in the mining area all arrived here. They looked at Marvin, who was nailed to the gate with a spear, and Mo Yun, who was sitting on the ground and was cutting the spear with the tools in the station, and a strange feeling came to their hearts unconsciously. "You killed Marvin." Although they were unwilling to believe it, the 5 gods and people came to almost the only conclusion when they ruled out other possibilities and faced the almost indisputable facts in front of them. Mo Yun said lightly, "Yes, I killed him." "Who are you? Marvin may die in your hands. Why are you pretending to be a slave? What is your purpose?" The 5 gods questioned Mo Yun. Mo Yun thought it was funny, but if it were him, he would not believe that a slave who had been in the mining area for less than a month suddenly killed a god who had at least 20 years of divine power. This is not in line with common sense. However, facts speak louder than words. Who am I? Don't you all know very well? I think you should talk about me behind my back, right? As for my purpose, Mo Yun's purpose has always been clear. He naturally wants to leave from this place, but not now. It's only been less than 7 days since the troll Gandhi left, and the day Gandhi left was also the day when the mining area handed over the ore to the Huishan market once a month. Thanks to the gods and people's indifferent concept of time, it can be said that there will be at least 1 month minus 7 days, and no one will care about this mining area. Here, there are only these few gods and hundreds of slaves. Under such circumstances, how could Mo Yun be willing to leave? You know, his considerable cultivation speed is all due to Huishan stone. If he leaves the mining area now, where will he find new things that provide a lot of cultivation value? Moreover, Mo Yun is not ready to face the wilderness and become a wilderness god. After a pause, Mo Yun changed the subject. By the way, there is one more thing I want to tell you. Apart from Marvin, I also killed Sob. A layer of rocks stirred up 1,000 layers of waves. When Mo Yun said this, the 5 gods and people were shocked. Impossible, you can't kill Sob. Lord Isobi is the Eagle Man. Even if it is not your opponent, it will definitely be able to leave safely. You don't want to scare us here. That is, if you are really that powerful, you can force us to submit with divine power. Why are you pretending to be a tiger here? Seeing that several gods and people agreed that he was lying to them, Mo Yun could only express regret. After all, his current cultivation value is precisely the shortest board. Although it took a short period of time to reach the level of 10 years of divine power, but facing these gods who also have 20 or 30 years of divine power, Mo Yun really has no advantage in divine power at all. There's nothing you can do if you don't believe me, but if you don't want to make the same mistakes as Ma Wen, just kneel down and surrender. Otherwise, die. Several gods and people looked at each other and mocked at the same time. Are you kidding? We will surrender you, a half-breed. That's right, no matter what your purpose of pretending to be a godman is. Your divine power is at best on the same level as ours. You alone dared to speak nonsense to the 5 of us. Stop talking nonsense. Revenge for Marvin. Yes, revenge for Marvin. The 5 gods acted instantly, and Mo Yun stopped being polite to them when he saw this, picked up his spear and threw it violently. Blazing spear. The 5 gods were startled, and secretly thought that Mo Yun had some real skills in killing Ma Wen. The Tauren among the 5 overseers rushed to the front, with a large shield on his back. Moo. The Tauren slammed the large shield in front of him. The big shield turned into a giant shield with dazzling golden light, and each god who passed through the giant shield had an extra shield. This is the power of its giant shield Godhead. After several people were protected by shields, they were no longer afraid of the flaming spear thrown by Mo Yun. However, in the next second, they were shocked out of their wits. The blazing spear easily pierced through the shield and pierced a dwarf overseer. The dwarf overseer was killed under the spear without even using his Godhead ability. Even the Tauren overseer himself didn't expect that the shield he created for his teammates was so vulnerable. At this time, Mo Yun's cold voice suddenly sounded in the air. First, although the voice was ordinary, it shocked everyone. The second round of the fiery spear has already been fired. The human overseer looked at the divine spear flying towards him in horror, turned around and fled, but how could his speed compare to the speed of the blazing spear? Accompanied by the sound of the body being pierced by the spear, the back of the human overseer was pierced by the spear, and he was nailed obliquely to the ground. The spear also emitted a dazzling fire, burning the whole person to ashes. The second, Mo Yun's icy voice sounded again, and the remaining 3 supervisors only felt like they were in an ice cave. Get close to him. His ability is to throw spears. It's useless to get close to him. The porcupine overseer shouted loudly, and rushed towards Mo Yun together with the other 2. But among the 3, one more person is destined to be sacrificed. Hey! The spear pierced through the body of the porcupine supervisor from the front, leaving only the beef supervisor and another human supervisor with a slightly shorter stature. The 2 finally came to Mo Yun. With extreme anger, the Tauren overseer raised the big shield in his hand, and threw it heavily at Mo Yun's. Mo Yun subconsciously backhanded a spear, and at this moment, ding! You have triggered the 10 times crit system, and the attack multiplier is 11 times. The spear pierced through the large shield and also the body of the Tauren Overseer. There were 2 booms, one in front and the other in the back. The large shield exploded into pieces, and a big hole was also blasted out in the body of the Tauren. Mo Yun also froze for a moment, looking at the frightened eyes of the Tauren supervisor. Mo Yun wanted to explain. It's not that my spear skills are strong, but that your luck is really bad. The last human overseer had already lost his legs in fright, and quickly knelt on the ground, begging for mercy. I surrender. My lord, I surrender. I am willing to surrender. Are you willing to surrender? Yes, I am willing to surrender. The short human overseer said quickly. Mo Yun originally hoped to leave 2 or 3 supervisors to maintain order in the mining area. What he needed was a mining area that could still produce Huishan mine normally, not a paradise for slaves to revel in. Using the original prestige of the supervisor can make things much easier. However, it is not an easy task to control the number of supervisors. Too many will pose a threat to Mo Yun, too few will not be enough to maintain order, and these supervisors obviously have no intention of cooperating. Mo Yun originally intended to keep the old cow who looked quite simple and honest, but he didn't expect the old cow to be violently killed, which is really regrettable. Sure enough, the only disadvantage of crit is that it affects the last knife. Mo Yun asked the little human overseer, "What's your name?" "My name is Dick, my lord." "Dick, listen carefully. I have the key to the Dragon Eagle stable. From now on, no one can leave this mine except me. Do you understand?" I understand what you mean. Dick said quickly, "I don't have any thoughts of running away. If you are honest and obedient, I will not do anything to you. Instead, I will reward you. You go to appease all the slaves now and let them continue to work obediently, understand?" Dick was a little surprised what Mo Yun wanted to do, but he didn't want to ask, and he didn't dare to ask. Dick nodded quickly and said, "I understand, my lord. But, what should I do if some rebellious slaves are disobedient?" Mo Yun said coldly, "Then you bring them here and get to know their former supervisor again. If they are still disobedient, you can ask them to keep company with the former supervisor. I think you still have this ability, right?" Dick glanced at his supervisor colleagues with different faces, and nodded his head quickly. "I understand, my lord, I understand everything, my lord. By the way, you don't have to go to the remaining 2 gods, just leave it to me. Do you understand?" "I understand, my lord, I will definitely follow your orders." Mo Yun watched Dick leave, and looked to the other side of the mining area. He and the Goblin Bibo and his former colleagues in the furnace cave still have some accounts to settle. At this time, in the furnace cave, after the Goblin Bibo left, the slaves couldn't help being lazy and chatting. What happened outside just now? Who knows? What does it matter to us what happens outside? I don't think Bibo didn't care at first, but then, you saw it just now, he also ran out. Think about it, maybe it will be good for us. Let's daydream. I haven't left this cave since I came here, and the outside world has nothing to do with me at all. What's the point of such a ghostly day? At this time, I don't know who suddenly mentioned a sentence. Actually, it's not that there is no chance to go out at all, for example, there is a job. Everyone was taken aback, knowing that this was referring to Mo Yun and the work of cleaning impurities in the crater. Many of the old slaves had done the work of salvaging impurities in the crater, but they were full of fear of this work, because several slaves died in this work. But Mo Yun was an exception. From Mo Yun, the slaves even had an illusion. That is, salvage work in the crater is not dangerous, and may even be easy. That half-breed. I don't know what kind of shit luck he's had, but such a good thing is going to take advantage of him. The one who spoke was one of the people who had taught Mo Yun martial arts. He's just an idiot born of a demon. I don't know what his other bloodline is. I suspect it may be a hell worm. I actually think that he might have been born of a devil and a 3-headed dog. The senior knight said suddenly. Hell 3-headed dog. Ha ha ha, your idea is so interesting. That's right, he should be the wild species of hell 3-headed dog and devil. You said, how did the devil and the hell 3-headed dog give birth to him? If you want me to say, it must be. Once dirty jokes were added to the chat, the topic became so focused that everyone couldn't help but immerse themselves in it, even the female slave joined in. The few female slaves who had been beaten by Mo Yun naturally didn't have the slightest affection for Mo Yun. Just as they were chatting in full swing, a gloomy voice suddenly sounded from the entrance of the cave. "So you all praise me like this behind your back." The familiar tone calmed down the entire cave. Everyone turned around and looked at Mo Yun standing at the door. At this time, everyone participating in the discussion felt chills all over their bodies, as if they were sitting on pins and needles. "Master Mo Yun, why did you come back early? Just now we were not talking about you." "I'm sorry, Master Mo Yun, I'm guilty, I deserve to die, I beg you to be merciful and let us go." The senior knight knelt on the ground and slapped himself in the face. He saw Mo Yun laughing, which made him very scared. He would rather see Mo Yun throw a tantrum, because then, at least he can predict what Mo Yun will do. "Why do you have to apologize? Didn't you just say you were happy?" Mo Yun looked at the senior knight with a smile. He has considered whether because these people have taught him martial arts, let them go. But now that I think about it, I really am the benevolent Master Mo Yun, who would have such naive thoughts. It's time to cross out some of the names on the list in his mind. Thoroughly, forever crossed out. "I'm sorry, Master Mo Yun. I know I was wrong. I will never dare again. Please, please forgive me this time." The high-ranking knight kowtowed to Mo Yun continuously, without any chivalry at all, making one wonder if he, the former high-ranking knight, got on the seat through the back door. "Okay, no need to kowtow," Mo Yun said lightly. These words made the senior knight's slave feel a glimmer of hope, maybe things have turned for the better. However, what Mo Yun said next made him feel like he was going to hell. "No matter how much you beg for mercy, I will not be merciful." Hey! The spear pierced the heart of the high-ranking slave knight, and for the sake of the fact that he had taught him martial arts, Mo Yun gave him a happy experience and didn't make him feel too much pain before death. "Ah! Killed!" The timid races in the cave, the bunnymen, squirrelmen, etc. screamed. The group of people who were chatting with each other just now looked at Mo Yun timidly, and stammered, how can you kill someone? If you kill someone in the mining area, you will be hanged." Let us go. Let us go. We will never say that you killed him. As long as you are willing to let us go, we will all obey you in the future." Mo Yun couldn't help laughing. When people are dying, are they all so naive? Mo Yun threw a spear, and the female orc who scolded Mo Yun in the chat just now was pierced through the abdomen. She did not die immediately with her internal organs ruptured, and was still screaming in pain. "Ah!" The rest of the slaves screamed when they saw this, and then they rushed towards Mo Yun as if they were going crazy, escape from the cave. Holding a spear, Mo Yun harvested the lives of the slaves like leeks. As for the few escaped fish that escaped from him towards the door, Mo Yun sneered, pulled the spear out of a slave's body, and threw it violently. A spear, after penetrating the bodies of 2 slaves, was nailed to the ground. The slaves who have not obtained the godhood are indeed far from the gods in terms of physical strength. Under Mo Yun's spear, they seem as thin as a piece of paper. At this time, a short figure just walked into the cave, saw the scene in front of him, and looked at Mo Yun in surprise. What have you been doing while I'm away?" The person who came was Goblin Bebo. Goblin Bebo wanted to find out what happened outside, but went out for a circle but found nothing, so he could only return angrily. But just after he returned, he saw such a brutal picture. As an overseer who doesn't even have the right to whip slaves, the life and death of slaves has a great impact on Goblin Bebo. Even if a slave dies accidentally, he will be whipped. Not to mention so many dead at once. Mo Yun looked at Goblin Bebo coldly. At first he had no hatred towards Goblin Bebo, until that time after Gonti whipped himself, Goblin Bebo got worse. Mo Yun had to admit that he really held a grudge. Wiping the blood on the spear in his hand, Mo Yun whispered to the goblin. "Kneel down and kowtow 100 heads, I don't need to kill you." "What, you bold mixed race, how dare you talk to Mr. Bebo like that? It seems that I have to make you look good today." The Goblin Bebo flicked his long whip, and the ashes of impurities piled up in the cave suddenly flew up, and a dense flame rose from the ashes. Such is the power of Goblin Bebo's divinity, which is Ember Fire. "I'm going to burn you until your skin is ripped apart. It's so painful." The billowing embers flew towards Mo Yun, but when the flame was about to approach Mo Yun, the fire dropped sharply and even bypassed Mo Yun. Unbelievingly, Bibo controls the flame to burn towards Mo Yun, but finds that the flame finally goes out when it is about to touch Mo Yun. Bibo was completely dumbfounded. What's going on here? Mo Yun was also a little surprised. He didn't expect the divinity of flame resistance to come in handy here. But then again, although his flame resistance godliness was obtained when he was 160 times more resistant to fire, but because he worked long enough near the crater, his current fire resistance has reached almost 300 times. With 300 times fire resistance and divine nature, Mo Yun felt that it would be no problem for him to bathe in the magma of the crater. Mo Yun looked at Bibo. I gave you a chance, but you not only didn't grasp it, but even shot at me. It seems that you want to die. Sensing that something was wrong, Bibo immediately wanted to turn around and run away. Mo Yun smiled coldly and raised the spear in his hand. With a precise slash across, one of Bibo's arms was firmly nailed to the ground. Ah, it hurts, it hurts. Seeing Bibo's screams, the other slaves in the cave were too scared to speak. It may seem normal to them that Mo Yun can defeat the slaves, but everyone doesn't think that Mo Yun will not be the opponent of the powerful gods. Therefore, everyone agrees that as long as Bibo arrives, Mo Yun can be subdued easily, and even Mo Yun will be hanged in front of them. However, the scene at this time made their breathing stagnate. Mo Yun walked to the goblin Bibo's side, but the little goblin still had no intention of giving in. Lord Asobi, Master Asobi will kill you. Seeing a goblin with such a backbone, Mo Yun couldn't help laughing, and he decided to tell Bibo the truth. Isobi has been killed by me. This is impossible. Master Isobi is so powerful. Let me see, besides Isobi, I also killed a forest elf named Marvin, and a dwarf, a human, a tauren, a porcupine. Before coming to you, I went to tame a centaur. He's far more knowledgeable than you. Goblin Bibo was completely stunned. At this time, the Goblin Bibo finally recognized the cold reality. Mo Yun, Master Mo Yun, for the sake of taking care of you, please don't kill me. As if remembering something, the Goblin Bibo struggled to smash his head to the ground, and said while smashing, I kowtow to you, 100. No, 200, 500. Mo Yun pulled out the spear that nailed Bibo's arm, and the Goblin Bibo let out another scream. Mo Yun said coldly, it's too late, I don't need you to kowtow now. But since you did take care of me before, it's not impossible for me to give you a chance. Goblin Bibo just had hope on his face. Mo Yun grabbed his neck and lifted him up from the ground. Don't you like playing with fire? Then, as long as you can persist for a minute, I will let you go. Bibo was stunned for a moment, and when he was about to ask Mo Yun why he persisted for a minute, he saw Mo Yun carrying himself to the ash hole of the volcanic furnace. You want to? No, you can't do this. Before Bibo could struggle, Mo Yun stuffed him in. No, Bibo let out a scream, but Mo Yun mercilessly closed the furnace door. All the slaves heard the screams from the furnace, but the instigator of all this was calmly counting. 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 21 seconds. Every word and number of Mo Yun's number is like the footsteps of death, stepping heavily on the hearts of all the slaves. When Mo Yun counted to the 27th second, the screams in the furnace stopped abruptly. Mo Yun shook his head and sighed, I should have said that I should have persisted for 30 seconds. The slaves in the cave were all terrified. And what's terrible is that Mo Yun started to look at them. For a moment, the slaves felt as if they were being stared at by the god of death, and they immediately rushed to beg for mercy. I never scolded you. Don't kill me. The slaves were already crying. Master Mo Yun, Master Mo Yun. Since last time, I have never dared to insult you again. This time they speak ill of you behind your back, and I did not participate. You must have seen it. You must have seen it all. I've always treated you with respect. Seeing Mo Yun walking towards him, the cave was full of cries. You, and you, come out. The 7 or 8 people pointed out by Mo Yun came out in panic, and even wet their pants in panic. Kneel down and slap your own mouth 1,000 times. Not only did the few people not feel sad about being punished, but on the contrary, they also had a feeling of rejoicing that they survived the catastrophe. They gritted their teeth and smacked their faces vigorously. using all their strength to feed their babies, for fear that they would be called out by Mo Yun because they were not pumping loudly enough. For a moment, the furnace cave was filled with the sound of slaps on the face. The names that Mo Yun named were all people with relatively minor plots, at least not dared to talk nonsense after he made a move last time. After all, he is not a devil, and he will not feel happy simply killing people. As for the rest, Mo Yun glanced across the cave, and everyone huddled and trembling, for fear of being called by Mo Yun. Mo Yun said indifferently, "You go to the centaur chef Daniel to report now, and Daniel will tell you what to do next. Including those of you who smoke, let me smoke while walking on the road. If anyone is missing, less than 1,000 times, I will cut off his hand and throw it into the crater. You supervise each other. Understand, understand. Also, drag all the corpses here and throw them into the crater." The slaves in the cave hurriedly stood up and dragged the corpse out of the cave. They didn't want to face Mo Yun for even one more second. Elsa Fengyu, the holy elf, also hurriedly mingled with the slaves and wanted to leave here, but a figure stood in front of her. A boundless chill rose in Elsa's heart, and she staggered back 2 steps, not daring to look up and look directly at Mo Yun. Seeing this, the others sped up their movements a little, for fear of becoming the next unlucky ghost selected by Mo Yun. After there were only 2 people left in the cave, Mo Yun said with a faint smile, "Your Excellency Elsa, the noble holy elf, can we settle the accounts between us?" Elsa felt her heartbeat was about to stagnate. She said quickly, "Yes, I'm sorry, I shouldn't scold you like that last time. But I only said that one time, only that one time. Please let me go. Please, I apologize to you." "Oh," Mo Yun smiled and said, "What's the matter? Why did Her Highness Elsa change her temper today, and the noble holy elf also needs to beg for mercy from me, a lowly guy?" While speaking, Mo Yun stretched out his hand sharply and grabbed Elsa's swan-like white neck. With tears in the corners of Elsa's eyes, she begged in a low voice, "Don't kill me, please, don't kill me. You can punish me however you want. Please don't kill me. Really, you want to live, not die." Elsa blinked desperately. "That's good." Mo Yun let go of his hand, looked at Elsa's holy face like an angel, and said in an undeniable voice, "Take off your clothes." Elsa froze for a moment. She was wearing a set of leather soft armor. The tight soft armor set off the girl's superb figure. I don't know what kind of creature's fur it is made of. After so long, it is still not stained with a trace of dust. Mo Yun asked again calmly, "Are you going to die? Or are you going to live?" Elsa bit her lip lightly, tears rolled down her eyes. She doesn't want to die. After a long time, Mo Yun came out of the furnace cave satisfied. A moment later, Elsa also came out of the cave. Her long silver hair was a little messy, and her face was still stained with dry tears. She looked at Mo Yun with an extremely complicated expression in her onyx-like eyes. Mo Yun said to Elsa, "From now on, you are the overseer here, responsible for guarding the slaves, understand?" "Understood." There was a hint of obedience in Elsa's tone. "Come with me." Mo Yun took Elsa to the center of the mining area, where the human supervisor Dick was waiting for him according to Mo Yun's instructions. When seeing Mo Yun, Dick looked a little uneasy. "What's wrong?" Mo Yun asked. Dick hurriedly said, "Master Mo Yun, I comforted those slaves as you ordered, but they don't seem to obey discipline that much." "Did you not do as I told you?" "My lord, it's like this. When I'm here, they are very obedient, but as soon as I leave, they become very loose. Not to mention work, it's good if they don't cause damage." Dick looked at Mo Yun cautiously, and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't complete the task you gave me. These slaves, if no one is watching, they really can't do it." Mo Yun thought for a while, and it was impossible to expect slaves to be motivated to work, and it was indeed necessary for supervisors to exist. After a little thought, Mo Yun had a general idea. "Elsa, go to the half-man Madaniel and ask him to bring everyone and all the bread here to gather. The cave that serves as a kitchen is over there." Mo Yun added, "No one can leave here now except me. I believe you are a smart girl." "I understand," Elsa responded in a low voice, and went to the cave of the centaur kitchen. Mo Yun said to Dick again at this time, "Take all the ropes and shackles, this time I will accompany you all personally." Not long after, all the slaves in the mining area were called together, and more than 200 slaves stood in the central mining area, looking at the human standing on the highest place with complicated eyes. At Mo Yun's feet, there were more than a dozen kneeling slaves who were chained or bound. Mo Yun coldly swept over the 200 people in front of him. I don't know if you know me or not, but judging from the words of some of you, many of you should know me. I don't care what you said about me behind my back, but from now on, in this mining area, I will have the final say. Isobe, the Eagle Overseer, Marvin the Forest Elf. All of them were killed by me. Although there was such a guess in mind, all the slaves present were extremely shocked and unbelievable when they heard Mo Yun personally say that he had killed Isobe and other supervisors. However, from the moment Mo Yun and Dick came to them together, punched and tied the highest-ranking slave, they knew. This human with black hair and black eyes is not to be trifled with. Mo Yun clapped his hands twice, and continued, "Listen to me now, I have two things to announce." All the slaves held their breath and looked at Mo Yun on the high platform. Mo Yun said lightly, "First thing, I'm not a demon. I don't have demon blood either. However, my blood is nobler than all of you. If anyone dares to slander my bloodline, then..." Holding a spear, Mo Yun walked up to a slave leader. The giant lizardman slave, whose body was already shaking like a sieve, hurriedly said, "I know I was wrong, my lord, I know I was wrong." "It's useless to know you're wrong." A blazing spear pierced fiercely into the body of the giant lizardman, and the blazing fire roasted it into coke. Several other slave leaders who had abused Mo Yun with their blood, struggled and begged for mercy. But Mo Yun seemed to turn a deaf ear to them, and walked over to each of them with a spear, stabbing them to death thoroughly. "Dick, turn around and throw these guys into the crater." Dick hurriedly replied tremblingly, "Understood, Master Mo Yun." After executing several slaves, Mo Yun continued to address the slaves. "The second thing I want to say is you either kneel down and surrender, or die." There was a commotion among the slaves, who obviously had great resistance to Mo Yun's words. Mo Yun was not in a hurry, but walked up to the remaining lion slave who was tied up, and asked, "Are you willing to surrender?" The lion man looked at Mo Yun stubbornly, with strong unyielding in his eyes. Lion people can be reduced to slaves, they can be playthings in the arena, but they will never surrender easily. Not bad. Very good. What a noble lion. The spear in Mo Yun's hand pierced the lion man's body mercilessly, and the lion man died immediately. Afterwards, Mo Yun walked up to a thick dwarf with a body like a water tank, and asked him, "Are you willing to kneel and surrender?" The dwarf stared at Mo Yun, hesitating whether to kneel down, but at this moment, Mo Yun said lightly, "It seems that you don't want to either." The spear pierced the dwarf's body, and the dwarf died without a word. Mo Yun walked in front of the next bound slave, and before he could speak, the slave knelt down on the ground with a slap, and shouted, "I am willing to surrender. I am willing to surrender. Master Mo Yun, I am willing to surrender to you." Mo Yun glanced, and the remaining bound slaves knelt down one after another, shouting, "I am also willing to surrender, Master Mo Yun." Mo Yun turned around, looked at the hundreds of slaves in front of him, and shouted sharply, "You guys, are you willing to surrender?" The slaves all knelt down, and as Mo Yun saw them, everyone knelt down hastily. Whether it is the original overseer Dick, the centaur chef Daniel, or the holy elf Elsa of noble blood, Mo Yun stood there tall and straight, accepting everyone's kneeling, as if he was a born king. "Get up," Mo Yun said lightly. The slaves just stood up sparsely, but in their hearts they felt full awe of this human being exuding an astonishing charm. From today, everything in the mining area will remain the same, but some rules will change. When they heard about changing the rules, the slaves inevitably became nervous, for fear that Mo Yun would give some terrible rules. But Mo Yun's deterrence just now made them unable to resist. Mo Yun said calmly, "From now on, you will be in groups of 5, and each of you will be in a team. Everything else is the same as before. You will still do what you did before. However, if you dare to flee or make trouble, if there is one person, kill a group. If there is a team, kill the first team." After the slaves heard Mo Yun's words, they were horrified instantly, and a sense of crisis that they had done before came to their hearts. Mo Yun had expected the panic of the slaves. Sitting together is a kind of cool method. Cool method cannot bring long-term peace and stability, but it can bring strong order and cohesion in a short period of time. In troubled times, it is advisable to use heavy codes. However, I will not treat you badly. Mo Yun said calmly, as long as you work honestly, nothing will happen. Starting today, I announce that each person's daily divine power bread will be changed to 5 yuan. Plus a bowl of broth. 5 pieces of magic bread. And a bowl of broth. After hearing that the divine power bread has changed from 2 yuan to 5 yuan a day, and there is broth, everyone seems to be not so hard to accept. After all, no one would think about running away or making trouble. If they could really escape, how could they be willing to be slaves here? In contrast, with the improvement of food and treatment, it seems to be better than before. Mo Yun glanced over these slaves, satisfied with their reactions. What he needs is not the sincere loyalty of these people, he just wants to let these people willingly create value for him in the remaining half a month. As for whether the bread is enough, there is no need to worry about it. In the Centaur's cave kitchen, flour has been stored for more than half a year. God realm wheat is harvested once a year, and it is the cheapest time to harvest, so the mining area will purchase a year's worth of flour for storage at that time. The same goes for jerky. Only vegetables are relatively small, less than 3 months old. But it is more than enough to cope with the next big month. Mo Yun continued, it's not over yet, I will reward you according to your work performance. If you do a good job, add 2 more pieces of divine power bread every day. No matter how good you are, it's only 5 yuan. The best ones will be directly rewarded with jerky. The slaves were a little surprised for a while, and some even said, Master Mo Yun, you are a generous and benevolent lord. Mo Yun smiled slightly, turned his head and said to the kneeling slave leaders, get up too, I forgive you. And, from today on, you are the new overseers. These slave leaders looked at Mo Yun in surprise. They were almost executed by Mo Yun last moment, but now Mo Yun actually asked them to be supervisors. Such a big reversal made several people feel extremely strange, and they didn't even know what to say. Lord Mo Yun, thank you for your kindness. Master Mo Yun, I will definitely complete the work of the supervisor faithfully. Not knowing who started it first, several slave leaders expressed their loyalty to Mo Yun one after another. This kind of reaction was expected by Mo Yun. What he used was the simplest way to tame. Give a big stick and 2 sweet dates. However, in many cases, the simplest method is often the most accurate, otherwise it would not be possible to last forever. Deterrence and strength first, and then give benefits in turn. Kindness and strength come together. No more than this. Mo Yun said lightly, from now on, you will still work as before. Of course, you supervisors will take over the duties of the previous supervisors. However, there is one thing. The refined Huishan stone should be delivered to the warehouse as soon as possible, understand? Understood. Everyone answered in unison. There is still one thing that the slaves feel quite strange, that is, Mo Yun killed the eagle overseer Isobi and others, and made them kneel and surrender, but why did everything in the mining area remain the same? Even more motivating them to work. Could it be that his purpose is to occupy this mining area? But even though Mo Yun is very strong, he can't compare with the Son of God in Huishan Market, Ales, let alone the real master of Huishan mining area, the demigod Ader, the lord of Huishan territory. Of course, no matter what Mo Yun does, they are not qualified to intervene, they can only work honestly and obediently. Daniel, from today onwards, you'll be making superbread at full capacity, do you understand? The centaur chef Daniel quickly said, Your Excellency, I understand. Elsa and Dick, the 2 of you are chief engineers and are responsible for inspecting the mining area. You are responsible for reporting everything in the mining area to me every day. From today on, I will stay in the Huishan stone warehouse. Yes, the 2 agreed quickly. After arranging work for everyone, Mo Yun came to Huishan stone's warehouse alone. The Huishan stone here had just been emptied once. At this time, it had only been accumulated for a few days, and it seemed quite empty. Mo Yun lifted huge Huishan stones, piled them up in the middle of the warehouse, and made a nest for himself. Afterwards, Mo Yun walked into the lair. Ding! The environmental characteristics have been detected. The current environment cultivation speed is 17.8 days. the cultivation system multiple is 41 times, the current environment cultivation speed is 729.8 days. All this is exactly what Mo Yun wants. Except for the entrance, it is a nest made of large Huishan stones in all directions, and it is in the center of all the accumulated Huishan stones. The speed of cultivation here is undoubtedly approaching the limit that Huishan stone can achieve. But the number of 729.8 days did not satisfy Mo Yun. Using the most conservative estimate, the troll Ganti will return in about 20 days. 729.8 is exactly equal to 2 years of divine power. If Mo Yun practiced here for 20 days, he would get about 40 years of divine power. Plus the original 10 years of divine power, a total of 50 years. Facing the troll Ganti with at least 100 years of divine power with 50 years of divine power, Mo Yun is not only unsure, but also feels that the risk is great. What's more, the number 729.8 is the limit number he can keep practicing here for a whole day. Mo Yun doesn't think he can maintain the state of extreme cultivation all the time, and it is impossible for him to completely ignore all the daily life outside the mining area. Considering that the slaves will continue to collect ore and transport it to the warehouse, the speed of cultivation may be increased to a certain extent, but Mo Yun feels that this is still not enough. Is there anything I've overlooked? Mo Yun thought about it secretly. Soon, Mo Yun found a blind spot. The divinity of the breathing method can undoubtedly increase the speed of practice, so when he was in the cave, he used to meditate to practice, but this 729.8 is only the practice speed when standing. Mo Yun immediately assumed a meditation posture, concentrating on the operation of the breathing method. At this time, he checked the 10 times cultivation system again. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 18.9 days, the multiple of the cultivation system is 47 times, and the cultivation speed in the current environment is 888.3 days. Mo Yun laughed. It's not that Mo Yun was satisfied on the 888.3 day, but Mo Yun thought that his meditation posture was actually standard at all. If he guessed correctly, there should be a most standard posture. The divine power obtained in that posture should be able to obtain the highest cultivation value. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 21.3 days, and the multiplier of the cultivation system is 52 times. The cultivation speed in the current environment is 1107.6 days. After half a night of experimentation, Mo Yun is almost certain that this is the limit of his current practice. 1107.6 days equals about 3 years. This kind of practice speed can almost make his divine power reach 70 years after 20 days. With 70 years of supernatural power against Ganti, Mo Yun still feels that he is not fully sure. However, there was another factor that he didn't take into account. At this time, Elsa's voice happened to be heard outside the door. "Master Mo Yun, the bread you asked for has arrived. Bring it in." Feeling anxious, Elsa walked into the lair built by Huishan stone with a basket of bread. She is the only one allowed into the lair, which only worries Elsa. She knew what it meant to be in the lair. Just like for nobles, a maid who can enter the master's bedroom must also undertake other special duties. Today, though, Mo Yun seems more interested in the bread than in her. "Put down the bread and take these stones out." "I see," Elsa said humbly. She couldn't wait to leave the lair. However, the stones on the ground surprised Elsa. After becoming a supervisor, Elsa has a better understanding of Huishan stone. In fact, Huishan stone is a stone rich in elements such as rocks and flames. When the elements in it were absorbed, they would turn into ordinary stones, just like what she saw right now. According to the old slave, a stone the size of a fist is enough for an ordinary godman to use for a week, and so many stones in front of him. Just when Elsa was secretly suspicious, Mo Yun's voice sounded in her ear. "What, are you going to stay here with me?" "I'm sorry, Lord Mo Yun." Elsa quickly picked up the stones, hugged them and fled the nest. Facing the graceful and charming silver-haired elf, Mo Yun smiled slightly. There is enough time, and there is no rush for pleasure. The 0.1 day divine power of the divine power bread may be the ultimate treasure for those slaves who cannot obtain the profound meaning. But in Mo Yun, whose daily practice value is as high as 1,000 days, it has almost no effect. Mo Yun found this basket of bread, of course it has other uses. Mo Yun ate a piece of magic bread. The bread made from wheat from the god realm is naturally different from the bread in the mortal world. The swallowed bread melts into itself like a warm current. The only pity is that Mo Yun doesn't feel it right now. After eating 12 yuan in a row, Mo Yun felt that he couldn't eat any more, so he took a break for a while. However, the divine power bread digested very quickly, and within half an hour, Mo Yun regained his appetite. After eating another 7 yuan in a row, the voice Mo Yun was looking forward to finally appeared. Ding! You have triggered the 10-time crit system, and this time the crit multiplier is 14 times. This time you eat an extra 1.3 days of divine power. Just as he guessed, eating the magic bread can also trigger the crit system. What Mo Yun has to do is to calculate the probability of the 10 times critical strike system. Only after knowing the probability can he further plan his cultivation direction. So, Mo Yun looked at the remaining basket of divine bread, and gently rubbed his cheeks. He just ate all the remaining 100 or so divine power bread. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.